Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. If you were expecting Uncle Vigilante tonight, well, Uncle Vigilante, he had a party to go to. Something about, he got a bunch of these Bitcoins in his wallet. And so I guess he's off. There were a bunch of girls that were out front that took him away. So my name's Uncle Odd, and I'm here with you tonight instead. Actually, was supposed to be broadcasting or live streaming to the Uncle Odd Show, but the folks at our friends at YouTube aren't allowing me to live stream there. Shocker for those of you who know Uncle Odd. Well, I am recording this, and this is a very, very important live stream. I know a lot of you out there were waiting for it. And for those of you who are catching this on a recording because you were expecting the live stream at the Uncle Odd Show, I apologize. I don't know what I can do differently except find another place to live stream, and we dropped that notification in the Telegram chat. So anybody out there, whoever wants to keep track of the whack-a-mole Uncle Odd or Uncle Vigilante, and know when we're going to go live, just follow me in Telegram, which is t.me/Uncle Odd Discussion. It's right there down by my name. Tonight is going to be a really fantastic show. Let me admit something to you. 1 year ago, I had no idea about cryptocurrency, about Bitcoin, about viruses. I had no idea about common law. I had no idea about germ theory versus terrain theory. I had no idea about a lot of things, just like you. Well, over this year, as we have had our rights railroaded, there has been an individual out there who, how can I best put this? He single-handedly turned a noun into a verb. What do I mean by that? Well, when the courts see Alphonse Faggiolo, is it Faggiolo? Do I have that right?
Faggiolo, you're close. You're good.
Faggiolo. Yep. When they see Alphonse Faggiolo coming, as the story goes, they leave. Like literally, legitimately. The judges, they get up and they leave so that they can't be found. So that's called being Alphonsed. And I'm really excited to talk to him tonight because he has forgotten more about common law and about how we can protect ourselves as men and women. And that's about the extent of my knowledge. And I am going to be a good host. And I'm just going to hand it over to Alphonse. What I asked of him is, because Uncle Odd kind of needs, as I've said before, the cookies brought from the top shelf down to a shelf where I can access them, eat them, maybe even understand a little bit about this stuff. So we're going to do a common law 101 with Alphonse leading the charge. With that, Alphonse, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Listen, I got to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not an expert on everything. You were talking about Bitcoin. A few years back, I traded stock options and futures. Okay. And the two guys I traded were professional traders that I watched and learned from. And they bought Bitcoin at 500. Okay. And it went to 750 and we thought, my God, that's overvalued. Sell that, get rid of it. What do we know?
Right.
So, we make mistakes, and like you, listen, I didn't get into, I was not my goal to get into this and get into law. Like you, I got drug into situations I didn't really want to be in. Okay. Yeah. I got an attorney, basically, I always said, he pushed me in the mud with the pigs. So I got in the mud with the pigs. I rolled around a little bit and I learned some things. I went, oh, that's how they're doing that. Oh, that's how they're doing this. Well, that don't sort of make sense to me. And I sort of started exposing it. And thank God I just had some good people as far as teachers that have come my way that have showed me things that are sort of irrefutable, like affidavits, where they're out of court testimony. But when I throw an affidavit at somebody, you're done. Unless you're going to rebut me, we're done. We have no more to talk about, okay? Don't come in and give me your opinion, your allegations, because my affidavit states that I'm willing to go to jail under penalty of perjury for everything I wrote down on this piece of paper. Unless you're coming up to meet me and match me or rebut my affidavit, we don't have any business with each other anymore. And when I learned how to sort of use that in different systems, we'll cover tonight, I started getting some success. I started getting, people backing off. I mean, when I got a guy from Bulgaria who messaged me yesterday, okay, Bulgaria. I mean, I started off, I'm thinking, wow, the world really reaches, far. And he had 2 matters going on. And one was going on for 6 years. And he filed affidavits into that case, was going on for 6 years. And the next hearing, they didn't show up to their own hearing. Okay. The judge was like angry as hell, and they didn't show up to their own hearing. He's got a tax matter over there with their version of our IRS. And he filed affidavits into that matter. And he said they were torturing him, like they were threatening him, wouldn't let him alone. He filed those affidavits. He said he's not heard from them anymore. Okay. So evidently, affidavits carry a lot of weight. And the great thing with affidavits, whether you're dealing with commercial law or judicial law, affidavit's an affidavit. Basically, it's an out-of-court statement stating that it's out-of-court testimony, but it's stated that basically, hey, listen, I'll walk into court and I'll put this on the record under penalty of perjury that everything I put down in this document's the truth. Powerful thing. That's something that's been hidden from us, okay? Because we're told. Listen, another disclaimer I have to do. There's 2 big German Shepherds here. Wrestling match going to break out any time. So as you're hearing noises, that's what's going on, okay?
No worries. I'm a dog guy. I have 3 myself, so I understand.
Because they're wondering, what's that noise going on in the background,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's out-of-court testimony that you're willing to come in and testify to. And you don't understand how powerful that is. That's so powerful that these bar association members, these attorneys, these Baal priests that are coming at you, they will never come up and rebut your affidavit. Never. And this is who's moving everything against you. You always think it's your government, your local government, your whatever, your federal government. They're not moving against you. Don't kid yourself. It's the bar association. That's the puppet master that's running all this whole thing. And I learned that firsthand, So yeah, well, I mean, with the stuff I'd like to do today is just, it's funny. Basics are so important. And it's like playing baseball. Unless you have the basics down, you're going to have problems. Okay, you got to know got to know how to field. You got to know how to hit. You got to know that when you're not hitting, what's going wrong. You're doing something wrong. It's the same thing with this stuff. You've got to have the basic fundamentals down. If you got the basics down, the rest comes easy to you. And it's really not complicated. You're going to be surprised at how easy this actually is. I don't study statutes and codes and stuff, and I don't argue statutes and codes. Could care less about their statutes and codes. I just know some basics of law that I'm going to impart to you guys, and some of you guys know that stuff, that are irrefutable, that you can use and stand on and put the people that are coming at you in very awkward, bad positions.
So you're telling me that with this strategy, I do not need to go out and hire an attorney for my legal work.
No, that's the worst thing you could ever do is get an attorney. And I'm going to tell you why it's the worst thing you can do.
Okay. So people, because this is Crypto Vigilante, or I'm sorry, Uncle Vigilante, you can see right now we're helping you save money.
Yeah, I mean, to saving money. I have a nurse that had contacted me, and she lives in New Jersey. And New Jersey's, you want to talk about China? They're like on the level with China as far as what Jersey does.
Wow.
I mean, they're militant, and they came to her and they wanted to pay. If you don't have health insurance as a nurse, you got to pay a fine. You got to pay this fine each year. $1,200 would have cost her, and they sent her this letter: "Dear taxpayer, Okay, so. Listen, I kid around with her. I kid around with people. I said, listen, I do a lot of Barney Rubble stuff. Barney won't ball back. Okay.
Say again.
It's like, listen, I call them Barney Rubble pleadings. They're so basic and obvious. It's like Barney Rubble saying, Fred take ball, Barney won't ball back.
Okay.
Putting this stuff in an affidavit, it stuns people. Okay.
Okay.
So we did one of these Barney Rubble letters, affidavits we did with the New Jersey Tax Bureau. They called her taxpayer. So we put basically stating that we don't know no taxpayer. My name's so-and-so. Oh, by the way, the document you sent me, nobody signed this thing. It was signed by a fiction of law. The agency signed it. The agency signature, okay? So we put this all down. We showed everywhere in the document that was fraud. And she actually reported it to the United States Postal Service as mail fraud. 5 days later, they mailed her a get out of jail free card. Okay, basically. Oh, you don't have to file. You don't have to pay the penalty. Here's your get out of jail free card. It was a 1095 form from a union that she belonged to 10 years ago that she never had health insurance with, but they sent her a 1095 form from that union stating that all she had to do was file that with her stuff, and she don't have to pay the penalty.
That is great.
What happened there, you know? So these are just basic things, and I'm going to teach you some basic. It's going to be like the V8 moment. Like, oh wow, I could have had a V8. It's going to be one of these moments.
Okay.
They're so basic. Listen, there's a pecking order. I don't know what your beliefs are, but God created man. Okay. Mm-hmm. Man created government. The only reason man created government was to protect individual rights. That's the only reason government was created, to protect individual rights. Governments created corporations. Okay.
Okay.
Corporations, your local government, your local town.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Corporations are your local government, your local town, your local borough, or your local city. They're corporate entities. If you look them up on Dun and Bradstreet, you'll find their Dun and Bradstreet numbers. Okay, wow. They're corporations. You're thinking they're your government. They're not. They're corporations that are masquerading as governments.
Okay.
And that's a very important distinction. And here's the funny part when I start messing around with this stuff and researching this stuff. Actually, in the state, when you read the state stuff, they actually say these municipal corporations, they're out on their own. In other words, if they get in trouble with something, the state's not picking up the bill for them.
Oh, really?
For 50 million, 100 million, the state's not going to help them out. That tells you a lot. These are separate entities. These are not the state, okay? Right. These are corporations, municipal corporations. These are not your government, okay, that people want you to believe. They're providing government services, but they're providing government services at the barrel of a gun. Hey, pay us or we're going to do some really bad things to you.
Yeah.
You get that tax bill. Hey, pay us or we're going to put a lien on you. We're going to do this. That's extortion, okay? If I sent you a document and say, hey, Uncle, I'd pay me or I'm going to do bad things to you, you know, that's extortion. And I'm going to show you why that's extortion.
Yeah.
So you got to understand this pecking order. It's the most important thing. God, man, government created corporations. Get that down. And judges are under corporations, okay? You have a corporate entity, the municipal corporation. The judge is working for that municipal corporation. They're municipal courts. So really, he's sort of fifth on the list. If you think about it, he's 1, 2, 3. He's down on the list, okay?
So I'm a business guy used to corporate structure. So you're telling me that the judge and I'm the man, I'm the judge's boss?
You're above him. You're always going to be above him because he's actually acting in the capacity of a person. Okay. When he's a judge, he's a person. He's not a man. You're a man at all times. Okay.
Okay. You're going to have to unpack that. It's probably good to unpack that at the beginning because I understand what you mean, but people who are new to this do not understand the difference between saying I am a man versus I am a person.
Every statute, code, ordinance, policy, law, no matter what you want to call it, written always designates persons, okay? A person considered according to the rank he holds in society with all the right to which his place he holds entitles him and the duties which it imposes. So in other words, there's a rank in society with a person and he's got duties. Well, you were created by your God, your creator, basically. It's God. You're under God. Do you have a rank? My rank's under God. I'm number 2 in this hierarchy. Okay. Yeah. I'm not stepping down to be under that. I'm not stepping down to be under government. And this is what they're doing when they call you defendant, when they call you taxpayer, when they call you resident. Okay. What they're doing is they're taking your status of man under God and they're lowering you down below government. Okay. When they can tag you as a taxpayer and you respond to that, it's like, stop. when you respond to that, you are sort of agreeing to take on that role of taxpayer, or take on that role of defendant, or take on that role of resident. So what they've done is by addressing you like that in their documents, they've lowered your status down from man down below government and under the judge. So now the judge is going to claim he's got jurisdiction over taxpayers. He's got jurisdiction over plaintiffs and defendants and residents. So what they're doing is we talk about spells. That's a spell, basically.
Okay.
They're laying words.
Break it.
Yes, they're laying words upon you to lower your status. So if I send you a document, I call you a defendant, and you respond back, and you don't rebut that right away and say, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, defendant. I have no idea what you're talking about." If I respond back as a defendant, sort of to defend myself, I'm sort of going along with the ruse. In other words, I'm saying it has some kind of validity because I'm trying to defend against it. I don't do that. I sort of take that apart, because any paperwork they file against me, it's always going to be in the name of a corporate fiction. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Alphonse Faggiolo.
Okay.
Was Commonwealth of Pennsylvania coming into court to get on the stand and testify?
Right.
Okay.
So is there anything that we ever get as a man or woman from a government official that is not a fiction?
Every mailing you're getting from these people calling your government is mail fraud. It's fraud. It's corporate. It's blatant mail fraud and forgery. Okay. Because what that is, that document that came to you that's filed under the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Uncle Lot or wherever you're at, that's another man, the attorney. He wrote that up. So you have a man claiming to act and speak for a fiction.
I get it.
That's like me coming in and saying, listen, Mickey Mouse is my client. I'm going to speak and act for Mickey here, and I'm going to file documents against you, Uncle Odd.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you laugh at me and go, dude, that's ridiculous, right?
Right.
Isn't that what the attorney's doing? He's coming in to speak for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is a municipal corporation.
Okay. Now, when you speak about the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, just because I want everyone to be really, really clear, you're just saying that because you live there, right?
Yes.
And so if I live in Tampa, Florida, it would be an attorney.
Everybody called him.
State of Florida, city of Tampa, or whatever. That would be the same as when because there is nothing special about the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that applies to the rest of us. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on that.
Now let's unwind your mind even more. Here's what they're doing to you. You live on a geographic region known as Florida, okay? Land known as Florida, right? That's Florida. Yeah. Geographic landmass. Just a reference.
Yeah.
Then you have the state of Florida. One's a geographic landmass. One's a municipal corporation that exists on a piece of paper with a Dun and Bradstreet number. One is not the same as the other. The landmass is not the corporation, but they conflate the two. They want you to think, well, that's the law in Florida. No, that's the law in the state of Florida, the corporation's law, okay? Just because you live on the physical location, Florida, doesn't tie you to the state of Florida's laws, statutes, ordinances, and codes. That's so basic, but people miss it because people say, well, they'll think, I'm from Pennsylvania. Well, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that must be the same thing. But look at that term. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, state of Florida. So if it's of it, it can't be it. Okay?
So are there any Florida governing laws then?
The only real law that you and I have is not to damage or harm your fellow man. That's pretty much it, okay?
Which I like that. Just leave me alone. I'll leave you alone.
But that's how it was set up. That's what the common law is, okay? Common law is not written down. In other words, common law is common sense. Listen, I know not to punch you. I know not to hit your car and take off. I know these are wrong. This is common sense. This is common law. So common law is not written down. Statutes, codes, ordinances, policies, they're all written down, okay? They're not common law, okay? They're just nothing.
So you come at anyone who is coming after you, you come at them from the basis of common law. That is not written down. How does anybody then acknowledge common law? How do they not just look at you and say, yeah, okay, let me throw you in jail?
I bring it down to the most basic elemental level. When I get a filing against me, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Alphonse Faggiolo, great. Excuse me, that's a corporate fiction. Who's making this claim? Who's Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? Because in any matter, whether it's administrative or it's judicial, you got to have a witness. Got to be a witness, okay?
Yeah.
You can't have a case without a witness. Now, if someone can't make a claim against you, you got to wear a mask. You got to pay taxes. You got to do whatever. Well, somebody's got to back that up with testimony. You got to have a witness, because the state of Florida, are you property of the state of Florida? Are you their property? Are you their property?
Am I personally?
Are you their property?
No.
Okay. Did you sign a contract with the state of Florida?
No.
Okay. So then tell me how their corporate codes and statutes and ordinances and their laws, tell me how they apply to you.
They apply to me that if I break their fiction laws, worst case scenario is they can arrest me for something, or they can impound my car for something, or I'm just playing angel's advocate with you on that.
Sure, but now when you challenge that by way of affidavits, which we'll get into, and you state, hey, that's a corporate fiction. I'm not property of the corporate fiction, and I have no contract with that corporate fiction. And as far as your law, statutes, and codes, I have no obligation or contract with any man or woman that's a public servant that created those law, statutes, and codes. If we're all created equal, right?
Yeah.
We're all created equal.
Yes.
I did a dumb little video. It's called the Rule of Zero. If I have zero more rights than you, okay? If I put two people together and they write something down on a piece of paper, they both have zero more rights than you, correct?
Yes.
0 plus 0 is what? 0, right?
Yeah.
So you're equal. So if I put 100 people together and I call them a legislature, and they write stuff down on a piece of paper and they call them laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances, what's 100 zeros added together?
0 times 100, Alphonse, even Uncle Odd can get this one. I think that works out to 0.
So if they're 0 and you're 0, how does anything they write down on that piece of paper, and they call whatever they want, how exactly does that apply to you?
So you're telling me all of this is kabuki theater and we're all going along with it. We're all hypnotized because we don't know any better. And I imagine they don't really want us to know any better. Yes?
No, this was indoctrination from the time you stepped into school as a kid. This was done on purpose. Okay.
Yeah.
And this came from your family too. Not that your family meant to do you any harm, just your dad did it, your grandfather did it, and you do it, and media, God forbid the media. So there's a reason they call things television programming.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Look at how many cop shows are on TV?
Right. Yeah.
Aren't the cops always the good guys? Aren't they always the good guys?
If they aren't the good guys, you sure feel like that. Even if they're bad boys, they turn it around to where, you kind of even like the bad boys. Yes.
They're rarely ever the bad boys,
Yeah.
That's all conditioning. It's social conditioning.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I submit that over 95% of human beings are walking around as NPCs or non-player characters, that they literally lack the capacity to critically think. So they get all of their programming from the television. I tell people that if you don't believe me, to just kind of give you an analogy is, load up your favorite television program and go to the characters that are in that movie on Netflix. And I want you to take whatever argument that you want to make. I want you to go argue to those characters on TV. Tell me how you're going to persuade them, because they aren't thinking. They are programmed into that television show. So I believe that people who've been indoctrinated from Jump Street, from the womb, if not prior, they are just getting their downloads. They're literally like that character on the TV screen. They have been programmed. Now, here's the puzzle. Why are there some of us who are actually playing this movie? We're outside of it, of the movie. We can think. We can critically think. We can challenge. There are very few of us, my friend. I believe there are very few of us.
Isn't it like the Neo with the Matrix when Morpheus says to him, "You've always known something's wrong"? When Morpheus comes, Well, you've always known something's wrong. I've always known something's wrong. Something just never felt right with what they're doing. Okay. I remember early on, me and my mom, I was having dinner at my mom's house and we're watching TV and everything I heard was this new ordinance, this new code, and I said to my mom, when did we give all our rights away? When did we agree to this?
Yeah.
When did we agree to be governed by these people? And we never did. And let's real quick talk about law, because how many times have you heard, well, it's the law. It's the law. Like it came from God on high that it's the law, because somebody put something on a piece of paper and called it a law, right? Yeah, it's right. Magic. It must apply because it's the law. Well, the basics we just talked about. If I'm not your property, okay, I'm not your property, right? Okay.
Nope.
So if you write something down on a piece of paper, what's the only way that piece of paper can apply to me?
If you own me.
If I owned you, right? If you own me, or it was a contract, you want to make.
Yeah. If you said I'm going to give you this Bitcoin for those 2 chickens,
yes,
and we agree to that, that is a contract. And if you agree with me, then tell me if I have this right. No, I'm gonna destroy it. I'm gonna shut up because I was gonna bring affidavit in it. I think I'm gonna.
Real basic. Listen, you wrote something down on a piece of paper. You called it a law. Okay, you called it a law.
Okay.
The only way you could make that apply to me, you'd have to own me, right?
Or you'd have to agree
I'd have to be your slave, right? That's the only way. If you could write something down on a piece of paper and make it apply to me, I'd have to be your slave, right?
Okay.
Now, the only other way it could apply to me is if you and I had a contract with that paper. You wrote it down. And I said, that looks good, Uncle Lod. I'll sign that. I'll agree to that. Let me sign that. Yeah. Well, now we have a meeting of the minds. We have a contract, right?
Yes.
That's the only way a written instrument, a piece of paper, you call it a law, statute, code, ordinance, whatever you want. That's the only way it can apply to me basically, is if I agree to it.
Okay.
Otherwise, like I said, the rule is 0. Just because 100 guys got together and called themselves the legislature, I didn't relinquish my rights to those people. I was born with God-given rights. I don't care what this group of people called voters did. That's up to them. If they want to,
by using that logic, then if they can govern over us because 100 people got together, just using the same logic, couldn't we gather 1,000 playing characters that we all like each other, and come up with some laws that invalidates the 100 them? I mean, it's just what's the difference?
If you looked at the numbers of us to them, it's ridiculous. Larkin Rose, a guy who's got a lot of good YouTube videos, he's got one called The Dots. Go watch the Dots video he does. It's hilarious, basically.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
You've seen it? The little dot, and all the dots are asking the little dot for permission. That's so great. That's what you and I are doing right now with these people.
Yeah.
They're the little dot. What are you asking them for things,
No, that's exactly right. It is such a great video. And when I edit this and upload it to the Uncle Odd Show, I will find that video and insert it right here.
Good. Now, I just want to get the basics. So now we know that there's a pecking order. God, man, government, corporations, and judges. The judges are low on the totem pole. But if
I thought judges represented the corporations. They're below the corporate entity?
They're below the corporate entity. Basically, they work for the corporations. In other words, when you go to a traffic court or something, that's a municipal court you're in.
Yeah.
The corporation's superior. The judge is hired by the corporation. They an employee, okay? So he's under the corporation. But when he calls you a defendant or a plaintiff, he puts you under him.
Okay.
He using that spell. What's it called? Spelling. When he puts that word defendant on there, or they put that word defendant on there, and you answer it, they're trying to lower your status from man way down below the judge, because judges control defendants and taxpayers and residents.
My early takeaway from this that everybody should know is you got to defend yourself as a man or a woman. You have to stand so firm in that and know your place in this pecking order. And you're right at the top. God's above you.
That's it. And we do that by affidavit of status.
Okay.
2-page document. So if somebody comes messing with me, I already got my affidavit of status written up, and on my site, people can go download mine and copy it and put their information in there.
Can you tell people where they would go for that?
Yeah, it's called, the site's I am has sent me to you, just like it sounds, IAMHASSENTMETOYOU.com. And there's a document section up there. And the affidavit of status will be right at the top.
Okay. Okay. So that is a repository of a lot of important things we're going to talk about tonight, right?
Yes.
So everybody, please note, IAM has sent me to you.com. Go there, bookmark it, and study it.
I got all my documents I used up there. I let them open for free. I let people download them. And when I did the Crow Show, the first 4 days, there was like 4,000 documents downloaded.
I bet.
And I got a new filing system up. There was still another couple thousand documents downloaded. Wow.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for taking the time to do that and the energy to do that. That's amazing. You're making a big difference, Alphonse.
But I got to get your head around statuses. Statuses mean everything. Okay? Don't ever lower your status. Don't ever let anybody call you a taxpayer. Don't ever let anybody call you a resident. Don't ever let anybody call you a defendant. And I'll show you how to stay out of that. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you get paperwork like that, somebody calls you that in the mail, that's fraud. I'll tell you right now, that's fraud. As long as the day is, it's fraud. Okay. Now, even in Pennsylvania, and all our state constitutions are very similar. I mean, it's going to tell you right there. Listen, this is a Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, and you got a good constitution in Florida too. I mean, is it any more obvious? All power is inherent in the people. Me and you, okay? And all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. Are you feeling real safe, Uncle Lod, when the cop pulls you over to extort money from you and your family? Were you feeling real safe?
No.
Neither am I, okay? So right there, it's telling you right there, the governments are instituted for your peace, safety, and happiness. But that's not what's going on. They've commercialized this stuff. Even the preamble of the state constitution states, "We the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, grateful to Almighty God for his blessings of civil and religious liberty, and humbly invoking his guidance." Right there, they're telling you, your rights come from your creator. They're admitting it right there in their own documents. These constitutions do not apply to you and me. All right? Okay. All these constitutions do are guarantee our God-given rights. They're written for government people. In other words, that's the rule book for the government people. The Constitution is just a rule book. For anyone in government, it states, if you want to deal with this man or woman, you got to follow this guideline here. Your rights come from your creator. They don't come from the Constitution. Your rights are only secured in the Constitution. That's the only reason for the Constitution, is to secure rights, not to grant them. But if you find yourself as a citizen, well, citizens have privileges. They're granted privileges by government, okay? Mm-hmm. And citizens have duties. And one of the duties citizens have is to pay taxes. Because, listen, the government's going to grant you this privilege, and in return for this privilege, we're going to need you to pay us this tax money. See what they're doing when they call you a taxpayer? They took you down from man, brought you under government, put you under the corporation, and they called you a taxpayer. They lowered your status. It's all they're doing with these documents they're sending to you. They're trying to lower your status. Never accept an adjective of what you are: taxpayer, resident, defendant. Never accept that. You challenge that. So when I get documents like that, I throw an affidavit of status in their face and go, "Hey, here's who I am. Here's what my rights are." And an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth. That's in both judicial law and commercial law. If there's an affidavit that I serve on you,
unrebutted affidavit stands as truth. So that means if I come to you with an affidavit, which is my sworn testimony under perjury, right, under God, if I come to you and I say, this is my truth, right, and here is 1, 2, 3, my defense, or whatever you might call it, my positions, and if I give that to you and I'm basically defending myself there, and you don't come and prove each one of those points, all three of them together, then screw off, right?
In other words, In other words, I'm not your slave, you're not my slave, right? So if I'm making a claim against you, right? Say I come and make a claim against you, you send me an affidavit like that, like you just said, points 1, 2, and 3, and I don't answer. I'm in commercial, I'm in legal, but it's even works in both judicial and commercial. I'm in commercial default. Because when you serve that affidavit to me, you give me a time to respond. Minimum's got to be 3 days, depending on the situation. If you're in a real tight, like a traffic ticket, sometimes they'll give you 10 days to respond. So when I send them out, I give them 3 days. Hey, you got 3 days to respond to this affidavit. If it's something that's not pressing, I'll give them 30 days. Okay. So
this hits home to me. Just know that we could ultimately go this direction. This hits home for me because I sent a notice of liability to Fauci, to Governor DeSantis, to pretty much 17 different people regarding the offer that they gave us, which was these pandemic restrictions and everything, just all of their claims. And I countered their claims and gave them the period of time, 30 days, and not one of them responded. And so then I sent out my second one and then my final. And then Alphonse, Uncle Odd got scared because I was told by an attorney in Texas that there are a lot of people in jail who have then followed through with the lien, filing a lien on a public office. And so I'm kind of in that spot. I could still move forward with it, but it kind of took the wind out of my sails.
Well, here's what Fauci would argue. Fauci didn't make any claim against you. Did Fauci do anything to you directly?
No.
Okay. So people are listening to Fauci. They're the ones that are doing these things, right? You go after the actual man. I don't care where he got it from, the health organization, the CDC, Fauci. I don't care where they think they're gathering their authority. I fell off the charge.
I live in Tampa, Florida, so I went after the mayor.
But that's the thing, too, is here's the problem with here's why I'm saying bring it back to the most basic element. Okay. I'm dealing with, I don't care about the mayor, the governor, the Fauci. I'm only concerned with when I'm trying to walk into the store and this guy gets in front of me and says, hey, you got to put a mask on or I'm going to throw you out. I'm dealing with him.
Gotcha. So
I don't care. Let him go cite Fauci. When I get him in court, let him walk into court and explain how he's doing what he's doing. Because I'm going to tell you that the mayor and the governor are not going to send anybody in there to defend this guy. Okay. The company's not going to send anybody in to defend this guy. All I know is when I walked in the store, I'm going to tell you right now, Costco, they committed 3 crimes against you right away.
I have a lawsuit filed against them, a 3-count lawsuit.
You were assaulted? Okay, you were assaulted. Assault doesn't mean I hit you. Assault means I threatened you. You were assaulted, okay? You were harassed.
Yes.
And you were unlawfully detained. All right?
Yes. And not only that, they stalked me. I bought my.
Isn't that harassment?
I bought my groceries, and then I got a letter, like 5 days later, overnight delivery, to where they informed me that they canceled my membership, which was on the Citibank credit card. They canceled my membership because I was filming using my camera, and I had uploaded it to one of the banned Uncle Odd shows, and we talked about it. So they somehow saw that, but I never gave them my name or anything. So they followed me, and after I paid, they went and found out who I was. And so they canceled my membership, which is a breach of contract. And then because that credit card was set up with all of my auto payments, it caused me all kinds of crazy agita because of that. So they've been served. They're within that 30-day window. So they're going to have to respond, and they'll probably respond to what would it be where they have it, file a motion to dismiss. And then John Jay is working with me on this. So we'll see how he suggests we respond. But yeah, they've abused my rights all the way around, and Uncle Odd's pissed.
Now let's look at the basics, the elephant in the room that no one's looking at. Wasn't this all over to wearing a mask?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So did they file anything against you for not wearing a mask?
No, they used the videotaping, which it is a public accommodation.
Why do you think they did that? Because they know when push comes to shove and you got in a court of law, they couldn't bring the mask thing up. It wasn't going to hold water. It wasn't going to fly.
Of course.
It's not a cause of action that they could file against you, okay?
Yes.
Cause of action means if I bring you in court, you had to have caused me damages in some way. You did something to me. You hit my car. You punched me. You did something to me, okay? I got to have a cause of action. In order to have a cause of action, you need to have standing, which means you need to be a damaged or injured party. You not wearing a mask. Did you injure Costco in any way?
No.
Did you damage Costco in any way?
No.
Okay. So Costco, nobody has standing over there, okay?
Right.
Nobody in Costco has standing, okay? So here's what they did. They know they couldn't beat you on the mask thing. They know that's all charade.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if there was teeth in that these governor's orders and they're enforcing them, well, gee, they would have fought back with you on that. And hey, we're just enforcing these government. They ran away from that like little kids. They said, well, we can't get them on that. Let's get them on the videotape. We'll get them on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about it. I'm going to teach you some basics, real basic thing of law.
Great.
We already stated that the constitutions don't apply to me and you. They just secure our rights, right?
Okay.
Well, one of your rights is what? First Amendment. You have a right to videotape in public places, right?
Yeah.
That's a right. Okay, that can never be taken away from you. It can't be altered in any way. Okay.
Well, they'll say it's private property. That's they say that. No, they say Florida is a two-party state, and they didn't give consent. That was their.
We're going to destroy that in a second. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about the basics here. So listen. You have a right. There's no doubt. You have a constitutionally secured right. The Constitution didn't give you the right. It just secured your right to videotape people in public. Can we agree on that? Right? We agree on that. Okay. Just as there's a hierarchy with man, there's a hierarchy in law. Okay, for them, law for them. Federal Constitution supreme. Okay. It's called the Supremacy Clause. It trumps the state constitution. Anything in conflict with the state, if the state constitution is in conflict with the federal constitution wins. Okay. So you got the federal constitution, the state constitution. Now you have laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances. Well, these were all made by the state of Florida, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. These were made by municipal corporations. They made laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances, okay? But they're under the state constitution. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're under the state constitution. So in other words, their laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances could never supersede the state constitution, okay? And I'm sure probably in your state constitution, you also have a right to videotape. And remember, the state constitution can't supersede the federal constitution. So in other words, all their law, statutes, and codes, like you just pointed at, you told me, well, they're saying that Florida's a two-party state. Yeah, that's in a statute.
Okay.
Federal constitution, state constitution, law, statutes, and codes. Yep, they're right. It's in their statute. What's that got to do with you? How do their statutes, they states right there, how can their statutes supersede not only the state constitution, but the federal constitution? It can't. All right. You have the Supremacy Clause. Pretty basic. You tell me.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made pursuant thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. Pretty clear, right? It's the supreme law of the land. All right. And judges, now get this, and judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of the state, two-party state, anything contrary to that is notwithstanding. In other words, doesn't matter. Okay. So we know the federal Constitution, you have a right to tape in a public place. You know, when you're taping in a public place, are you damaging anybody?
No.
Anybody harm? Okay.
Matter of fact, it was in my cart facing the roof. I just kept it going because I wanted to capture the audio because I have a bona fide medical disability to where I can't wear a mask. And for my protection, I wanted to be able to document that abuse.
See, I would attack right there. They're saying, like I said, they've already shown you their hand. This is all about the mask, but they don't want to touch the mask thing with you.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not going to touch that. Let's go get them on this videotaping thing. We're going to say this. Florida's a two-party state. And who says your statute? I'm sure they cited some statute, some two-party statute, whatever it was.
Nope.
How does that apply to you? Let me ask you this. We'll go back to the basics. Are you property of the state of Florida?
No.
Do you have a contract with the state of Florida?
No.
Okay, so there are corporate codes that they wrote down, that two-party taping.
Yeah.
How does that code apply to you?
Doesn't.
Okay, there you go. It doesn't, okay? And when you challenge that stuff by way of affidavit, who's going to come in and say, listen, Uncle Lodge, you're wrong. I could write this thing down on a piece of paper called two-party taping, you can't do this, and I can make this apply to you, Uncle Lodge. Well, like we talked about this documents. The only way I can make a document apply to you is if I own you, I can make you apply to it, or if you agree to it through contract.
So those are two basic questions. Uncle Odd likes basic questions. Sir, question: do you own me? No.
Yes. Am I your property?
Am I your property? No.
No.
Sir. Did we have did I sign a contract agreeing to this? No. Okay.
Sir, how does that statute, this written instrument you're citing, how does this apply to me?
Right.
Game ender. You'll see bewilderment in their eyes, okay? You got to talk to the attorneys. I did this with the head property assessor in Delaware County, okay? Now, this guy's an experienced guy. Little old me. I got the record coordinator from the county there. I got the head property assessor, and I backed him down in 3 questions. He's crying for his lawyer, okay? He was real cocky with me early. Mr. Faggiolo, your property's going to be reassessed because you got property in the county. I do a Colombo. I said, John, I don't understand. What do you mean my property's in the county? I don't get what you're saying there. Are you saying my land and my property are on the county's land? He got so mad at me. He jumped up and said, yes. And the records coordinator sitting there, she said, John, you can't say that. No, John, you can't say that. She sees me smiling because he just stated that my property was on the county's property. Now, that's a lie, okay? County don't own my property. County doesn't own your property, okay? What's the county? They're a piece of paper with a Dun & Bradstreet number. They're right. Corporate fiction. They don't own property, okay? They don't own your property. They don't own my property. So she knows he was stuck. Then I walk him down the road, just the basic questions, John, what evidence you have of that? And he said, he started going off. That's your mistake. You should have went to the county recorder and got your deed. That's your mistake. You should have read your deed. John, what in my deed gives you that authority? It says in Delaware County on your deed. And I asked the obvious question, John, how does the term in Delaware County create a legal obligation upon me to a municipal corporation? Game ender, okay? Wow. Quiet silence. You got to talk to Kelly Sullivan, the attorney.
It just does, Barney.
Now we're talking about his attorney. I got to talk to his attorneys. I said, John, why would I talk to your attorney? Remember, the attorney's a private contractor. I said, John, is your attorney making claims against me, legal claims? You got to talk to him. I said, John, you're the guy. You're the head property assessor. You're making claims against me. I'm asking you to support your claim. You're telling me to go talk to your tiling contract or the guy who cuts your grass. You're telling me to go talk to your attorney. Your attorney's not making a claim against me. Why would I go talk to somebody who's got no jurisdiction over me, no legal standing in the matter, and no personal knowledge of anything involving me? Why would I go talk to a stranger to support your claim? This is your claim. Game, okay? That's the game with these people. When you press them with it's called like the Socratic method. When you keep giving me answers, I just keep asking questions, like you did. Sir, am I your property? No. Sir, do I have a contract with you? No. Sir, how does your code that you're citing apply to me? Now he's going to go back into his code, Uncle Lod. He's going to look at his code and he's going to read it to you. Go, no, I didn't ask you that. You're reading something off a piece of paper.
The Costco guy is going to say that he's going to cite their corporate policy. Well, our corporate policy changed, and our policy now demands that you have to wear a mask to enter a Costco.
You work at Costco?
I do not work at Costco, as a matter of fact.
Okay, so what's their policy got to do with you?
Yeah, doesn't their policy have to do with their employees and their
Can their policies? Let me ask you this: we talked about pecking order of law. You had the federal constitution, the state constitution, and then the municipal corporate law, statutes, codes, and ordinances. They're like third on the pecking list. Policies are even under that. Okay, right. Policies are under private companies. Okay.
Well, tell me this, Alphonse: how in the heck did the CEO and the general counsel of Costco, how on earth did they have the set to actually put this in action, to literally on November 16th, because I know I went in on Friday the 13th. That was when I shopped. And I knew that their CEO said that as of Monday, they were no longer going to honor medical exemptions. So I went in on that Friday specifically to talk to the manager and be able to say, look, here is my medical exemption. Here is even though I know they're bullshit, but here is the Hillsborough County executive order, the Florida executive order, the city of Tampa executive order, all of them cite medical exemptions. Tell me how you guys can just ignore these medical exemptions that are in the executive orders that you're citing as your basis for your new policy. Now, I just want to be left alone next week when I come in. So I'm coming in today to be nice, and I just don't want drama next week. And that's when literally, I made one guy, he had a German accent at the end of it. He had the gall to tell me I'm just following orders.
Oh, it sounds like, did we hear that?
And I said, I said to him, that worked out really well for the Jews. Yeah. And he said, oh, sir, I am so offended by that. That is so offensive. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's the truth. So, but that's where these people are coming from. They just don't want to get fired. But answer the question for me, please. How on earth, what, it's almost like the Druid Babylonian bastards have something over the CEO, or they chose Costco to be the case study, or the pilot, or the control group for we're going to just destroy people's rights. We don't care. I have to believe they're getting money somewhere, because they've lost a lot of members because of it.
Yeah, two things. To me, see the medical exemption thing. I never use medical exemption. First of all, why? Because when you do that, you're actually lowering your status from a man. Because now you're saying, this governor can write medical exemptions that you could cite.
I agree 100%.
I'm not wearing a mask. That's all I say. I'm not putting no mask on. Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
And let's take here's another thing that's a lot of people are coming across. I'm going to teach you how basically how to destroy this.
Okay.
Then they try and say you're trespassing, don't they? Well, they're going to trespass you. You're trespassing. Well, let's see. The only one that can trespass you from a property is the owner of the property, not the store that's in there, not the manager. The owner has to trespass you from the property. Okay. In other words, I got my house here. If my neighbor sees somebody on my property, he can't call the cops up and trespass somebody. He don't have standing to trespass somebody. I got to trespass the guy from my property. Only I can enforce my rights. My neighbor can't enforce my rights. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the manager at Costco or the stock boy, whoever is messing with you, he can't enforce the rights of the owner. You see what I'm saying?
Who is the owner of Costco then? Do you have to get the board of directors to file a trespass?
Does the owner of Costco even own the property? Or they renting it? Or they leasing it? I don't even know, But basically, the owner has to trespass you. Did the CEO call up and say, hey, get that guy out of my store? I'm the CEO of Costco. Get Uncle Lod out of my store.
Well, who in the heck then? I mean, let's just go real now, because the cops aren't going to give a shit about that. Who can ever trespass then legally?
Well, there's three elements of trespass. And I'm going to show everyone who's been trespassed that they don't meet any of the elements. So I guarantee everybody that's got a trespass citation, the owner didn't trespass them. Number one gone. Okay. Let's go to number two. In order to be trespassed, you have to enter the property unlawfully. You have to be doing something like, in other words, you broke into the property, okay?
Okay.
You broke. Did you break into Costco when you went in? No. So you didn't enter Costco unlawfully, did you? And not wearing a mask is not unlawful. You not wearing a mask is not unlawful. You entered Costco to shop. You didn't do anything unlawful when you entered Costco. Element 2 gone. You just defeated element 2. Element 3 is you must remain on the property and be doing an unlawful action. When you're shopping for food, is that unlawful? Did I miss something? Is shopping for food unlawful now? Or shopping for food without a mask, is that unlawful now? Did I miss a meeting or something? So there's the 3 elements of trespass.
So when the police officer comes and he says that we're going to arrest you for trespass, Uncle Odd's 3 questions are:
what's your probable cause?
Okay, what's your probable cause?
That means, what's the crime?
Okay, cite the violation.
So what's the probable cause? Got to be probable cause is a crime, okay? When you say probable cause, you're talking about a crime. And a crime can only exist when someone's damaged or harmed. So if they're asking you to leave there, one of 2 things. You had to either violate somebody's rights or you had to damage somebody. Well, you didn't damage anybody, right? Whose rights did you violate from Costco?
Nobody's.
Nobody's, okay. So what's the cop trying to do? Enforce their corporate policy of you wearing a mask?
Okay, back the bus up, okay?
Okay.
Let's say I'm the cop and I come in, and let's actually say that I'm not a douchebag. And I'm being reasonable. I'm not coming in like some of these cops that we see that just have small penises and they just need their little bit of power. But I'm a cool cop, and you have an owner there, or not an owner. You have a person in charge, the store manager of Costco, who has had enough of you. And they call the police come in. You're Alphonse standing there. Go, let's role play.
Cop comes up. He just came in.
Just came in and says, sir,
I want this man arrested for assault. I want this man arrested for harassment, and I want this man arrested for unlawful imprisonment.
I like that. Jiu-jitsu.
Now I just became a victim, didn't I? Well, what do you mean assault? You're threatening me. I came in here to shop. I said, this is a public accommodation. I came into a public accommodation to shop. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't bother anybody. I walked through the door, and you immediately assaulted me and threatened me. You told me, if I don't do this or I don't do that, you're going to throw me out of the store. And that's assault, that's harassment, and you're telling me I can't walk further into the store. That's false imprisonment.
Yes.
Okay? That's detainment. Because if you were walking out on my street, Uncle Odd, and you were coming by my house, and you were on the public sidewalk, and I jumped in front of you and said, Uncle Odd, you are not allowed to walk past my sidewalk. Okay.
And you know why? Because the HOA, they just made a new bylaw saying that you can't walk past my property on the sidewalk. So you're breaking the HOA code of new law.
We talked about that. If you're in a contract agreement, which you sign with your HOA, they can't keep making new contracts.
Yeah, I'm just being facetious, saying
Sure.
that's the same as the corporate policy that they cite. That we have a new corporate policy saying you have to wear a mask, right?
Sure.
So
listen, John Jay's right. That's a public accommodation. Okay, that's a public accommodation.
yes,
It means it's open to the public. Okay, so you walked in there lawfully.
yes.
Anybody, you didn't harm anybody. Okay, you didn't violate anybody's rights. You not wearing a mask did not violate anybody's rights.
So basically what you just shared with me, that gives me a little bit of confidence. And when I say me, I have a lot of confidence when it comes to this stuff. So not much scares me, but I'm talking about anybody who, goes along and gets to get along, and you put on your mask because you're afraid that what if somebody challenges you, and what if you get arrested for trespass. What you just said gave me is power to be able to take control back immediately. When the officer comes in, say, just in your own mind, you're the one who now has a law enforcement officer that is going to rightfully protect your own rights. Sir, want him arrested. I want her arrested. And just totally turn this thing upside down.
I want him arrested for assault. I want him arrested for harassment. I want him arrested for false detainment. Under what authority is he here? Is he allowed to harass me? I came into public accommodation, sir. I came in the shop. This guy immediately jumps up on my face, threatening me. If I don't wear a mask, he's going to throw me out, and he's harassing me. I'm here to shop. He's not allowed to harass me, and he's not letting me proceed on my way.
What about the fact that
I'm going to give you a better one. Before they call the cops, when they say, I'm going to call the cops on you, say, don't worry about it. Here, let me do it for you. Pick up your phone, dial 911.
Okay.
Let me an officer here. I've been assaulted. I've been harassed, and I've been unlawfully detained. I need an officer here. You're not a victim, okay?
Beautiful.
Officer shows up. You're the victim. Hey, think about the logic of it. Now, they could say, well, I didn't assault you. I didn't do this to you. I didn't harass you. Wait a minute. I came in the shop. Didn't you come up to me and get in my face and tell me I got to wear a mask?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's our policy. Well, I'm not following your policy. I don't care about your policy. What am I doing that's unlawful?
Mm-hmm.
What have I done? Please state the probable cause. What have I done unlawfully so far since I walked through this door?
Yeah.
Did I enter unlawfully? Did I do anything unlawful inside? Was I running around knocking cans off the shelves? What did I do that's unlawful in this store? Please tell me what the crime is.
You're not wearing a mask, sir.
Sir, that's your policy. Your policy.
This is to protect me and protect you. This is because of the pandemic.
Sir, that's your opinion. In order to impose something upon me, you've got to have evidence that I damaged somebody. You got somebody that's claiming I damaged them because I came in here without a mask? Because
You
that's
could
like
be an asymptomatic silent assassin, sir.
well, gee, that's sort of like saying when I get in my car, I'm in threat of killing everybody anyway. When I get in my car and drive around, I can cause accidents at any time. Okay, it's the same thing as not having a mask. It's the most ridiculous argument. And first of all, you just basically state, listen, that's your opinion. Law doesn't work like that. If I've damaged your rights in any way, or I've harmed somebody in any way, that's different. I came into a public accommodation to shop. I want to be left alone. Okay, I have a right to be left alone. Okay, that's my right to be left alone. You came up, you assaulted me, you threatened me, you harassed me, and you detained me. You told me I couldn't go where I wanted to go. Who are you to detain me? Or now let's go in a little further and show them the shit they step in.
Okay, before you do, I just want to state one thing before I forget it. Is, I think we're all conditioned, those of us who've worked the system, is just like, I'm sorry, I have a medical exemption. Well, you just gave me something that I like a lot, which is, sir, just leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Listen, I just want you left alone.
Not, no, thank you. I don't want a mask.
No, leave me
alone.
I don't want to be harassed. Stop harassing me.
Stop harassing me.
Stop assaulting me. Stop harassing me. How do you like that? Repeat that. Sir, stop assaulting me. Stop harassing me.
Yeah.
Now, if there's cameras and there's people videotape, that's going to be on there. Sir, stop assaulting me. Stop harassing me. I'm not bothering anybody, sir. I'm not doing anything wrong.
I love that. I've
broken no law. I came into a public accommodation to shop. I've done nothing wrong. And he could say mask all he wants. Who cares? It means nothing. I mean, listen, like I said, I get in my car. Yeah, I could cause an accident anytime I get in my car. I could kill somebody or hit somebody.
I like a different analogy that I said one time on a previous channel that was banned. Was this is so ridiculous to where they're basically saying, imposing a medical device, and a medical intervention on you, because somebody somewhere said that you could be an asymptomatic silent assassin. If that is the case and that logic holds, who is to say, and I'm not even kidding you, our new health director that's in this new administration, the one that is the TRANNY, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just take a look at this person and don't think that they couldn't, make this edict, which is, we fear that now venereal disease can be transmitted through the air in a public place. So everyone from now on is going to have to wear a condom before entering the store. I'm being half facetious.
Is that what they're doing now? Isn't that what this is?
Yeah, because somebody said so. Somebody made this law, or not law, this mandate. And so where does it stop? If they then say that, look, for your protection and mine, it now has to be 3 masks. for your protection and mine, now you have to show your vaccine passport. This is where it's all heading. And this is why, unfortunately, I've tried to protect the Uncle Vigilante. I'm definitely going to pull this off of Uncle Vigilante and upload it to the Uncle Odd Show after it renders. But this is why I get censored so much, because we speak about this kind of stuff. And you don't, if you think about why do people censor others, it's usually because they're over the target. You don't have to, I don't know, just try.
Here, like I said, I like to bring everything back to the basics. Now, we just accused this guy of 3 crimes: assault, harassment, and false detainment.
Yes.
Now, listen, he could cite the CDC, he could cite whoever, he could cite God for only once. I don't care who he cites, okay?
Yeah.
When I sue him and bring him in court and go, this guy assaulted me, he harassed me, and he falsely detained me, what excuse is he going to use for harassing me and for assaulting me? Is he going to actually get up there and state, well, the mandate was, well, objection, assuming facts not in evidence? What facts do you have that the mandate or the codes or whatever have anything to do with me? Isn't that guy, now he's really in a slippery slope. Not only did he commit 3 crimes against you, let's look at what he's really doing. Isn't he practicing law without a license? Isn't he looking at something that was written by somebody else, like a legal thing, and he's applying it upon you, isn't he? So not only is he practicing law without a license, he's sort of imitation a judicial officer, because now he's making legal determinations about you. Not only is he making legal determinations about you, he's imposing them upon you, isn't he? Isn't he imposing these things upon you? Like a judge? Is he a court? Does he have the power of a court? No. Okay. Oh, and he's imitating a medical professional, right? He's making medical determinations for you, right? Because, listen, I don't breathe out of my nipples or my feet. So if you want to do the no shirt, no shoes thing, that's one thing, okay? But when you tell me to put a mask on and limit my breathing, breathe my carbon dioxide, this is no shirt, no shirt, no shoes thing. We're past that, because I've heard lawyers say, well, it's equivalent to no shirt, no shoes. No, it's not. You're asking me to cover my face up and limit my oxygen intake and breathe my own carbon dioxide.
That's right. I love your rebuttal on that one. My nipples don't breathe, sir.
I don't breathe out of my nipples or my feet. I don't breathe out of my nipples or my feet. I don't breathe. You're asking me to cover my face up. We got a problem, okay?
I don't breathe out of my nipples or my feet.
What's healthy for me? Not the CDC, not Costco. I don't need them to protect me.
Yeah.
It's not Costco's job to protect other people. They're a freaking retailer. They're not in the medical business or law. They're not there to protect people. That's not their job, okay? They're a retailer. Now they're making medical decisions about you and other people. Well, you might make somebody sick, and you might get sick. Well, now you're practicing law, you're practicing medicine, and you're making judicial claims. And not only are you making the claims, you're actually imposing them. Mm-hmm. You're actually imposing these little dumb policies on you. They don't have authority to do that. So when you sue that guy in that capacity and say, hey, you assaulted me, you harassed me, and you falsely detained me, how does this guy walk into court and he's going to state, well, I was just following the orders I was given? Objection, assuming facts not in evidence. What do those orders have to do with me? Well, the governor issued, objection, assuming facts not in evidence. Did the governor issue anything against you, Uncle Odd, directly?
No.
He didn't issue anything against me directly, right?
Yeah.
But this guy working at Costco, right? This guy, he's making a claim that this governor, he issued these orders against me. Geez, my God, he's practicing law without a license. He don't have a clue of what he's doing. Yeah, he's out in the wilderness, okay? It's a ridiculous claim for him to sit there and say, well, the governor issued these orders. Objection, assuming facts not in evidence. Because what evidence is there in the record that the governor issued an order to me that it has any validity against
Okay,
me?
Alphonse, so you go through this whole process, and you're right. I think you win. Now, you have to sue this person. I know because of my lawsuit with Costco. I know it cost me $400 to file the lawsuit. It cost me another $60 to have it served. So, they go through their kabuki theater. They file a motion to dismiss, and then John Jay will do whatever he does. And ultimately, if it goes somewhere else, it's going to cost me more money. At what point in time, based upon your knowledge of the law, can they not hide anymore behind all of this stuff? And I win. And if I do win, other than an injunction, which means give me the right to go shop, reinstate my credit card to spend money with you, you know, I want an outcome where I own Costco and that I can then sell it and buy Costa Rica, rename it Costco Rica, invite all my unmasked friends.
See, okay, a couple things. The judicial process you're in, I use that, but I'll use that as that's my cherry on top. That's my like step 6 I'll go into. Okay. Before I do all that, I'm going to walk them through the whole thing. Like we just talked about what this guy did wrong. He assaulted you, he harassed you, battered you. Well, guess what? They're real criminal complaints I'm going to file. I'm going to file state criminal complaints. I'm going to file federal criminal complaints. Okay. Are
you telling them this right now when they're assaulting you, or is this just after the fact?
No, I don't have to tell them anything. No, I'm just going to file them. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to file state. They're going to realize what happened, okay, because they're going to get copies. I'm going to file state criminal complaints and federal criminal complaints. And when I file my state criminal complaints, you file them with the district attorney of the county. Okay. And you also have a state attorney general. So I'm going to give the state attorney general copies of whatever I give the district attorney for the county. But I'm going to tell them guys, because they're just public servants, them two guys, district attorney and the attorney general. They're just public servants. So I'm going to tell them, listen, guys, I don't need you guys to investigate anything. I don't want you guys to do nothing. I just need you to take my complaints. I need you to hand them over to the grand jury. Because the grand jury is sort of a fourth branch of government that they don't want you to know about. Okay. The grand jury is not beholden to the district attorney or to the assistant attorney, to the attorney general. They're not controlled by those two entities. Okay. If I could get my complaints in the hand of the grand jury foreman, they could evaluate my complaints on their own and decide whether to bring charges or not. Okay. I don't need to go through the district attorney and I don't need to go through the attorney general. Mm-hmm. But since they hide the grand jury from me, I have no other choice but sort of funnel my stuff through them. But I'm going to do it in a creative way. Because when I send my criminal complaints to both of them, I'm going to put a self-addressed stamped envelope in there for the grand jury foreman. I'm going to ask him to initial it and put it back in the mail to let me know he's got my complaints. So I'm going to tell Mr. District Attorney and the State Attorney General, hey, listen, guys, I don't need you guys to do nothing. I just need you to hand my stuff over to the district attorney, to the grand jury. And oh, by the way, I put an envelope in there in each your packet for the grand jury foreman. I just need him to initial that and put it back in the mail so that I know you guys gave him my complaints. Well, now I'm a victim. I'm reporting crimes. I'm reporting assault. I'm reporting harassment. I'm reporting false arrest. These are crimes. Mm-hmm. And there's a host of other crimes I could use too in your state codes I could use. And more than 3 I'll find. So I'm reporting real crimes to these people. I'm a victim. They're public servants. They don't want to give that to the grand jury. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the district attorney's got a problem and the state attorney general's got a problem because suppression of evidence. No, you guys are public servants. These are crimes. I put my name down on them. I'm willing to swear under penalty of perjury that these crimes were committed against me. I need you guys to follow up on this. I need you to give these to the grand jury. What are you going to say? No, you weren't assaulted? Were they there? Was the district attorney there or the state attorney general? Were they at Costco when you had your incident?
Right.
They got no personal knowledge of anything, right? All they know is I'm there stating under penalty of perjury, I've created these criminal complaints. I've given them to you. I'm telling you, I'll walk in court and testify to these. I need you to give this to the grand jury. Mm-hmm. They can't make no judges about my complaints, can they?
No.
Okay. So really, they should give them over to the grand jury, but they don't want to do that. They won't do that. So now I can go after the district attorney and the state attorney general. And I'm also going to file federal criminal complaints, and you file them with the FBI, the special agent in charge. That's the only guy that'll give you his name. If you call up your local FBI, they will give you the special agent in charge's name. They won't give you anybody else's name. They'll give you his name. And I'm going to file federal criminal complaints, Title 18 criminal complaints with the FBI. Now, do I think they're going to do anything with these criminal complaints? No. Okay. I really don't. But here's what I know what happens. Everything's politics. It's political.
Yeah.
They're looking at me. They got criminal complaints. The district attorney's got criminal complaints. The state attorney general, they got criminal complaints. And this crazy man, this guy's got a self-addressed stamped envelope in there for the grand jury foreman in both pockets. This is not the average monkey.
Yeah, exactly.
The monkeys don't act like this.
Right.
This guy's moving somewhere with this. This looks like a setup to me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They get that. This looks like a setup. And here's what happens. Because everything's political, Many times they're going to get a phone call from the FBI or the district attorney or the state's attorney general, and they're going to call and say, what the hell are you guys doing? This guy's filing state and federal criminal complaints against you people. And I'll show you the power of this. The guy I learned this stuff from, real deal, Randy Kelton, guy in Texas. Randy caused a lot of trouble in Texas, and I love him. I mean, he'll pick up the phone and dial 911 in the court, okay, and tell him to arrest the judge. He's done it. He's done it numerous times.
Is that the guy that's kind of the cowboy dude that will call businesses like that? He's like, if you have an issue, you call me and I'll act as your legal advisor. He might be. Randy's been around a long time. Was like hung around with Robert Fox, and I learned Robert Fox is the king of the affidavits. Okay. So yeah, I mean, here's what happens. Just a case in point. I'm listening to Randy Kelton's show one night, and a guy from Pennsylvania calls up. One of my compadres. I don't know this guy, but he's one of my locals. Calls up. He had a DUI. They arrested him for DUI. Well, he did what I did. He filed motions to dismiss. And let me tell you what a motion is. A motion to dismiss is, that's like me going to the judge and saying, pretty please, may I, daddy? Please grant my motion. Men and women don't file motions. We file affidavits. Okay. Attorneys file motions, okay? That's all an attorney can do is plead with another man to do something for him. Me and you don't plead to people. Okay. We file affidavits. Hey, I'll put it down. So John Jay says that they're going to file a motion to dismiss. That's way different than them filing an affidavit to dismiss, right? We talked, I think briefly, I talked about this before off the air. Who's going to file that motion to dismiss? Who's the individual that's going to be the king of that paperwork, that's submitting that paperwork? The attorney. Is it the attorney that's going to file it? Yeah. Their attorney's going to file it, right? Yeah. Let's talk about the attorney. In other words, every answer you get back, this motion to dismiss, or if you get an answer back, it's going to be created by the attorney. Yeah. Okay. Right? That's the given. Let's talk about the attorney for a second. Does the attorney have any jurisdiction over you? No. Okay. Does he have any legal standing in this matter? Did you damage him or harm him in any way? No. Okay. Does he have any personal knowledge of anything in this matter? No. Just what he was told. Just what he was. What's that called? Isn't that called hearsay? Yes. Okay. So the guy who's got no jurisdiction, no legal standing, no personal knowledge, he's the guy that's going to file a motion to dismiss. Okay. I'm pretty sure that that's forgery and fraud because he wasn't there. So how's he filing legal papers into a matter he don't know nothing about? Well, somebody told him. Yeah, that's hearsay. Hearsay doesn't work. Okay, you can't go into court and testify to hearsay. Well, John told me this, or Joe told me this. Right. Objection, hearsay. That's hearsay. You can't use it. Okay? So then once I receive that, what's my move? I'm going to rebut. Whoa, who answered this? Mr. Attorney? Mr. Attorney has no jurisdiction in this matter. He's got no legal standing in this matter. He's got no personal knowledge of anything he's written regarding this matter with me. This matter happened between me and the employee at Costco. The only one that can answer you is that employee that did what they did to you, or whoever sent you the letter, whoever kicked you out of Costco. They're the only ones that are involved in this matter. They're the only ones that have personal knowledge of what happened. Okay. So anybody other than that original attorney who sent me the letter of cancellation, even that's fraud. When he sent you that letter, that's fraud. Was he there? Does he know anything about? So then somebody's who made this legal determination that they should kick you out of Costco? Right. It's got to all be hearsay, right? Because somebody told the CEO or the assistant CACO, whoever, somebody told them something. They weren't there to witness it, right? So it's hearsay. Right. Everything they did against you was hearsay. Yes. No one can walk into court and testify that here's what happened that day, or here's why we he was videotaping and we know for certain. I don't care if they see a video camera. They got to walk in and testify that they now have personal knowledge that you did this thing. Yes. Not only do they have a hurdle that they can't prove that videotaping is wrong because you have a First Amendment right. Remember, policies don't trump rights. You got a First Amendment right to videotape in a public place. Right. Good policies can never trump the state constitution, and the state constitution can never trump the federal constitution. Right. So they're dumb little thing that, well, it's our policy. I don't work for you. I don't care about your policies. Your policies can never trump my rights. Right. Okay. We're done there. So everything
that these people did against you, the people that were involved in it.
Yeah.
Was anybody there at the store that day when you were supposedly videotaping?
Mm-mm.
So everything that
wait, anybody there? All the Costco shoppers.
Great, the Costco shop. But I'm saying the people that kicked you out of Costco, the Costco management, whatever, that sent you that revoked your membership.
Nobody was there personally. No,
they don't have personal knowledge of anything that happened then.
No.
Saying, okay, so everything they did was based on hearsay.
Yes.
They don't know. The only one that can rebut anything that you said or did would be the individuals from Costco that you interacted with that day.
Yeah.
They could say, I have personal knowledge. This guy did this. Now, if the Costco, and that's another thing too, they're saying, well, this is our policy to protect our employees, blah, blah, blah. Protect them from what? Did you damage the Costco employee from videotaping them?
They cited confidentiality. It violated the confidentiality of our employees.
Do you have do you work for Costco?
No.
Oh, do you have a confidentiality agreement signed with Costco?
No.
What do you care about their confidentiality?
And who cares about my conversation I was having with them? Who cares? I think there are other people who have different conversations with them that are Costco shoppers, right? Am I not allowed to be able to have a conversation about what just basically describing I don't want to be hassled next week? Hell, it wasn't even at that time. I mean,
they can have a confidentiality policy for their employees. That's between them and the employee. Okay. Yeah. That's their policy. Okay. They can't enforce their policy upon you. Imagine if Costco said, we don't want any black people shopping here. That's our policy. Okay.
Right.
Could they enforce that policy?
You have to genuflect before you enter the store. That is not a new policy.
Every 10th shopper gets punched in the head. I mean, this is our policy, That's the same thing they're doing with you can't videotape.
Somebody asked in the chat, is this guy a lawyer or a legal advisor? How would you answer it?
No, don't offend me like that, please. I detest lawyers. I destroy it. I hate attorneys. I destroy attorneys.
You don't have to be an attorney to actually fight legally. Fair?
No, I know the basics. I know that the real law, all law, even corporate law, you got to have a witness in your case. So if you're going to make a claim against me, you got to have a witness coming in to testify to something. They never have witnesses. And not only is that witness got to testify, that witness has to explain how you, Uncle Lod, damaged them by walking into Costco without a mask. You must have violated somebody's right or damaged somebody when you walked in that store without a mask. It's an absurd.
This is just all ridiculous. I'm just sitting here getting more and more mad thinking about it because I'm like, I really, really want to punch back and be able to. I mean, I've invested money in this. I have been so inconvenienced by having, my Amazon, YouTube, everything, not canceled, but basically orders that have stopped because I have to go put in another credit card. And for what? I shopped legally in Costco.
Get your pen. Get your pen. I'm going to show you how to have a little fun. Just jot these down real quick. Bullet points. You want to have some fun with them now?
Yes.
The attorney that filed, when you get a response from this attorney, go file bar grievance against him.
Okay.
Does this attorney have any jurisdiction over you in this matter?
No.
Does he have any standing in this matter? Was he damaged?
Nope.
Does he have any personal knowledge of anything that he's submitting about this incident?
Nope.
So he's an interloper, isn't he?
What's an interloper?
He shouldn't be involved in the matter. He's got no right to be involved in the matter. He's an interloper. Okay. So he's claiming to speak for the corporation. Isn't a corporation a fiction?
Yes.
He can't speak for a fiction. Okay. He could try and what is he claiming he's speaking for the employees? No, the employees got to speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody had a right violated, was damaged, they're going to have to walk into court and get up on the stand and testify.
Right.
The attorney can't do it for him.
Right.
So this attorney shouldn't be involved in this matter. Okay.
Yep.
So go file bar grievance against him.
I will.
And because basically just what I gave you there, he should not be involved in this matter because he has no standing, he has no personal knowledge of anything in the matter.
Agreed.
And when you file that bar grievance, here's what they're going to do, Uncle Lod. The Bar Association, they're going to get your grievance, they're going to take it, they're going to look at it, and they're going to tear it up in little pieces.
Yep.
They're going to throw it in the trash, okay? Yep. And you're going to get a nice letter back from them saying, Uncle Lod, we looked into your grievance and it's frivolous. There's really nothing, there's nothing here, okay? Guess who's not going to ignore the bar grievance you filed?
Who?
His indemnity insurer, his insurance company.
Okay.
They're not going to ignore it, okay? Because guess what a lot of times happens when people start filing bar grievances? What usually files a bar grievance against an attorney? A lawsuit. So now the indemnity insurer is going, oh, there's a bar grievance. Now, Randy Kelton, who's famous for doing this stuff, he tells me a lawyer in the first year of practice gets one bar grievance filed against them, they lose their indemnity insurance. Can't be an attorney no more. An experienced attorney, 5 years, 10 years, get 2 bar grievances in 1 year, they lose their indemnity insurance. Can't be an attorney. A law firm that gets 3 bar grievances filed against them, they lose the law firm loses their indemnity insurance. Law firm don't have any insurance anymore. Law firm's got to shut down and go open up under another name, okay? So just that bar grievance, they don't want you to know that that's what kicks in is now it's sort of affecting their insurance. Now you're really up the ante. You got a judicial claim filed. Okay, great. I would file affidavits against them. Basically an affidavit of fact of what happened that day and stating why they're out of line. Just basically what we said. Hey, listen, I walked into the store. I was assaulted by this guy. I was harassed. And I was falsely detained by whatever the police name was.
File an affidavit against who right now? That same attorney?
I would serve it to the guy or the woman, whoever at the store did this thing, whoever these people did, or whoever. I remember you had that videotape in your cart there.
Yeah.
Couldn't come in the shop, whatever. I would file it against those people.
Okay.
There's those people. They're the ones that are basically harassing you.
Yep.
They're making legal determinations, and that's another thing you put in your affidavit of fact. John Smith, whatever he is, stock boy, started making medical determinations for me that I had to wear a mask. You put that in an affidavit.
Well, in my lawsuit that John Jay really wrote for me, it was an affidavit of fact. It was like a monster affidavit of fact, but it wasn't filed against the 2 people. It was filed against Costco. So
good. Now that's great. He's got that judicial case going on for you. That's great. But now you could file an administrative claim. In other words, you could file a notice of claim against the individuals that did this to you.
Okay.
Hey, and here's what I tell people. Listen, Uncle, my body, my information, my genetic material, all that I own and all that I claim is my exclusive property.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say my body's my property and this guy's trying to tell me I got to wear a mask and I got to do this or he's not going to let me go somewhere, not going to let me walk in the store, isn't he administering my property?
Yeah.
Does he have any right to administer my property?
No.
I got a cause of action right there. This man's trespassing. He's
now. Do you first have, because I think you do you have an affidavit or something of your own personal property or your own body? I thought you have something that you've written.
No, the affidavit of status I send out with all my anytime I send paperwork out, I always use my affidavit of status because I don't want them having any presumptions of who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to know where my rights come from and who I actually am.
Yeah.
Because it's going to rebut that affidavit of status. It's going to stand. So now I just remove all presumptions. So I throw that in with everything I file. Okay. The affidavit of fact, I'm going to put that in basically that, hey, you trespassed and administered my property without right. You were practicing medicine. You were telling me I got to wear a mask. Probably the same things that John Jay's got in his.
Yeah.
You could just basically take them and move them over.
Right.
Put that in an affidavit form and call it a notice of claim and ask for a financial component. I want to be compensated $50,000 for this because you trespassed and administered my property without right.
Yeah.
How does this guy walk into court if you also bring this into a judicial proceeding? How does this guy from Costco walk into court and state how he has authority to make you cover your face with a mask?
Right.
You don't. He's not. He's going to say, I was just following orders. You're going to get that one. I was just following orders. Or, oh, the governor. Well, now you're practicing law. You're making decisions that some guy called the governor wrote something down on a piece of paper. And because he wrote this thing down on a piece of paper, it somehow gave you authority to make me do something. Remember I said, I'm either your property or I got a contract with you, sir.
So this is the first that I've heard that I can enter in some kind of financial claim. This is
administrative. Notice we're not even in court yet. I'm just filing an administrative claim because this is creditor insurance. All right.
Okay.
The thing is, oh my God, this guy's setting us up for a civil suit.
Yep.
Okay. And now he's citing administering his property without right because, geez, the Costco people are telling him he's got to wear a mask. He's saying his body's his property, which it is, and that we're administering his property without any rights.
Right.
Yeah. They're giving you medical advice. They're making legal determinations that the governor can issue you orders. Okay. I mean, you're doing all kinds of things wrong. So I'm going to put in my notice of claim, you're trespassing and administering my property without right. Okay. And what you're doing, basically, I would also call forgery. You're claiming that some guy called a governor or health organization, the CDC, wrote something down on a piece of paper, and it somehow gave you authority to make me do something. Where did you get that idea from? Because there's no way he walks into court and testifies to that. This is the Germans. I'm just following my orders. I was just following orders. That's not a defense.
Right.
Because what they really did is they did break the law against you. They did assault.
What is the one-liner? Ignorance of the law is not a defense?
No. I mean, like they said, say Costco passed, no black people could shop here. And then this guy starts enforcing, oh, you're black, you can't come in here. Right. That's the same thing they're doing with this mask thing. Oh, you don't want to wear a mask? You got to leave, They don't have that right to do that.
Right.
Like I said, the only way they can tie you to a document is you're either their property. I'm pretty sure you're not the guy at Costco's property, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you didn't sign a contract with him, and your Costco membership is not a contract, okay? That's a service agreement you signed. That's not a contract.
Unpack that.
Your Costco membership is not a contract.
Okay.
It's a service agreement. And here I'll give
the difference.
Here's the 5 elements basically of a contract. There has to be an offer. A man has to offer you something. Hey, Uncle Lod, I'll paint your fence for $500.
Okay.
Alphonse, I'll accept your offer. Offer acceptance, 2 elements. Has to be consideration. We have to exchange goods in some way. I'm going to exchange my labor for your money. I'm going to paint your fence. You're going to give me money. We now have 3 elements of a contract, okay? There's also got to be full disclosure, meeting of the minds, okay? So say I make this agreement with you, this contract, and I don't tell you that I got this bad batch of paint, okay? This defective batch of paint, and I'm going to paint your fence with it, okay? Well, I just voided that contract because I didn't disclose that to you. I had a duty obligation to disclose that to you. We never had a meeting of the minds because if I told you, hey, Uncle Lod, I'll paint your fence for $500, but I got to let you know, man, I got this defective paint I'm going to use. You're going to go, you ain't painting my fence. You would have never entered into the contract.
Nope.
So there's got to be a meeting of the minds. And a contract must be signed between 2 sentient living beings. You don't have a cable contract. You don't have a water contract. You don't have an electric contract. You have service agreements. Okay. Because the electric company's never going to walk in court and testify. Okay. No, the cable company's not going to come into court and testify. Only 2 sentient living beings can sign a contract.
Does the IRS ever come into court and testify?
No, and it's funny is there's a few guys out there beat the hell out of the IRS by just asking basic questions. Well, who filed this return? Remember, you always have to have a witness because what the IRS will do is they'll create a return on your behalf. There's some unknown entity, some agent will make this return on your behalf. Well, this agent that created this return, let's talk about what we know. Does this agent have any jurisdiction over you? No. Does he have any legal standing? Did you damage or hurt this agent in any way? No. Does he have any personal knowledge of anything that you've done, okay, to create a return? No. So that's fraud, okay? Give me the agent's name. Who created this return? When you start asking those questions and bring them down that path, they go away. They'll go away. It all comes down to the basics. You've always got to have a witness in any matter. So, and like the Costco thing that you're going through, the people that are doing these things against you, Nobody has personal knowledge of anything. The only one that has personal knowledge is the employees that were there that day.
Right.
They can testify. Do you have any testimony or affidavits from anybody from Costco that you damaged or injured them in any way?
No.
Then there's no cause of action because they're trying to hold you to a corporate policy. Remember, policies don't trump rights. You've got a right to tape in a public venue, okay?
Yes.
You're not doing it. Listen, if you were taping in a public venue and I'm up in your face, say I'm running around like I said, like they said they're following, say I'm following you like 12 inches away.
Yeah.
Aren't I harassing you?
Yes.
That's a crime, okay? Then it's not a matter of videotaping. That's a matter of me harassing you. I'm running. Right. You got a freaking phone in your cart pointed up. Are you harassing anybody?
No.
Did you damage anybody?
and just to use the logic, if they're saying it's a two-party state, I think there's massive surveillance in a Costco. I think that those cameras up there, I don't think I ever entered into a contract saying it's okay. You can, I'll give you agreement to record me. Oh,
tell me that. Tell me it's a say that to me. It's a two-party state.
Well, sir, the reason why we're canceling your membership is because you violated the privacy of our employees. And as you know, Florida is a two-party state and you did not get their consent to record.
Sir, what are you referencing exactly when you say Florida is a two-party state? Can you? Is there something you're citing? I don't understand what you're citing.
Yeah, well, it's. I can get back to you. I can cite the statute. It's Florida statute.
Most of them probably will say that because most of them probably don't know the statute off the top of their head. So even when they bring the statute to me, sir, this is a written instrument. Sir, how exactly does this written instrument apply to me?
Well, it just does because you live in or you're in Florida, and this is Florida law.
Sir, are you an attorney, or are you making legal determinations about me? Where you're making legal determinations at a document?
Well, you're an attorney who sent me the letter, so yeah.
Mr. Attorney, how does my physical location in Florida, how does my physical location on Florida make this written instrument apply to me? How exactly does this written instrument apply to me because I'm physically located on the geographic region known as Florida? Please explain.
Because it's the Florida statute that says to record requires two parties.
Sir, what is the statute, sir? What exactly is a statute? Isn't it a written instrument?
Yeah.
Sir, did I sign a contract to follow the statutes?
Well, sir, let me, this may be going over your mask, but sir.
You see what I'm basically, what you're doing is, we talked about this. If someone can write something down on a piece of paper, a statute, and say it applies to you, you must be their property. You're not you're not the state of Florida's property. Okay.
I mean, that's just so basic. And when you put it in those terms, it's like we just have to mentally think. I just have to mentally think through all of this. Is that
who created that statute? We don't even know. Do we know who created the statute?
Yeah, if the bottom line is if there's a statute or anything, then you have to ask, did I ever agree to it? Did I ever sign an agreement to that statute?
Yeah, that's one, but you can go more basic.
Okay.
Sorry, who created that statute? Who?
The Congress, Florida Congress.
Who's Congress? Who in Congress? I need a name. Who's the man or woman that wrote this down on a piece of paper and is saying it applies to me? Because the Congress is a fiction of law. In other words, I can't call the Congress into court and cross-examine the Congress. There's nobody, there's no Mr. or Mrs. Congress coming into court. So somebody wrote this piece of paper called a statute that you're relying on that you say applies to me. Well, first of all, Mr. Attorney, were you there when they wrote this statute, Mr. Attorney? Were you there when they wrote it? No.
Now, Alphonse, I can see why it's true. And those of you who don't know Alphonse, literally the judges run when they know that he's coming into court. They don't want to hear him. And no shit. And so I can understand why. My question now is,
Wait, here's the killer, Odd. Here's the killer for him. Sir, you're citing a statute? Sir, do you have personal knowledge that statute applies to me? Were you there when they wrote it? No. So, sir, everything coming out of your mouth is hearsay.
Right.
You're saying that a piece of paper? You don't know who wrote the piece of paper.
Why is anyone convicted of anything? I mean, taking your position It's like everything is bullshit that is in the courts.
If you like I said, what's the only law that you and I are really subject to? Don't harm your fellow man.
Okay? Yeah,
don't violate somebody's right, and don't damage him. That's the only law.
The golden rule.
Golden rule. That's why it's the golden rule. So if you're not damaging or harming anybody, nobody has any authority to be messing with you.
Yeah.
But they've done it through calling you taxpayer, resident, defendant,
driver, licensed driver.
Yes, they do it like that. So you got to understand that that's just to reduce your status from man, to put you under them, because they have control over drivers. They have control over residents.
So let me ask you, if all of a sudden you get a citation in the mail saying that you ran a yellow light and you owe $258, what does Alphonse do?
Well, first thing goes in is going to be a mail fraud complaint I'm going to file, because nobody's going to be signing that citation. If the cops sign it, that's even worse, because that's securities fraud. He's making his security out of thin air. He took a piece of paper and claimed he could apply it to me that now has a cash value attached to it. You don't have authority to do that. Okay. Now he's practicing law without a license. He made a determination that he had jurisdiction over me and that this code that he cited applied to me. He's not a lawyer. He's a member of the executive branch. He can only execute orders. He can execute a warrant, or if he has probable cause, he sees me create a crime, damage somebody, he can intervene and arrest me because I'm hurting somebody. Okay. So first thing goes out is a mail fraud complaint, because it's never going to be it's not even going to be the cop versus me. It's going to be who? The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the state of Florida versus Uncle Odd. Okay. Yeah. That's fraud. So when that paperwork shows up and it says state of Florida versus Uncle Odd, that's mail fraud. Okay. Because we don't initiate suits through the mail. Right. That's why you pay what, $60 for a process server, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
That's why we have process servers. They serve suits. In other words, geez, why couldn't you just put a stamp on that, Uncle Odd? Just throw it in the mail and deliver it to them.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
we don't initiate real lawsuits through the mail, do we?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So that thing they mailed you, the citation I just got, it's not a real lawsuit, is it?
No.
It's a fishing expedition, okay? It's really what it is. So now I file my mail fraud claim. I got that. Next thing's going to go in there, 2 affidavits. Affidavit of status, telling them who I am, where my rights come from.
Mm-hmm.
An affidavit of fact. And that's got some real nasty stuff in there that scares the hell out of them, because let's talk about the cop real quick. Now, they're called officers, aren't they? People call them officers.
Well, I was actually referring to these damn yellow or these.
Oh, that thing's just that. Okay, I'm going to do an affidavit of status telling them who I am, and I'm going to give them an affidavit of fact saying that, first of all, I'm not your property. I have no obligation or contract with your corporation, whatever they are, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, state of Florida, whoever. I never relinquish rights to you. I never relinquish rights to the men and women doing business as the state of Florida, and you are administering my property without right. That's pretty much my affidavit of fact. Okay, and your codes. I have no obligation or contract to either acknowledge, believe, or adhere your laws, statutes, codes, or ordinances. And
so you send that, and it's a big FU. And
my 2 affidavits are going to go in, and I'm going to also file a notice of claim against them. Oh, by the way, you're private employee, the guy known as or whoever whoever sent me this junk.
Yeah.
Whatever court sent me this, your private employee that did this, they are now trespassing and administering my property without right. I have no obligation to these people. In other words, the only way they could bring a suit against you. Remember, most traffic stuff is criminal. Even running the camera light, it's criminal. Well, let's see, criminal. You got to have a victim. You got to need a corpus delicti. It's got to be a injured party. Okay. Did you damage the camera when you drove by?
When you say it's criminal, meaning that from a law standpoint,
a lot of states, most states would consider traffic violations criminal. It's absurd. It's really absurd when you think about it, because in a criminal matter, you need a corpus delicti. It means body of the crime. You gotta have an injured party. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you damage the traffic light? I mean, the camera when you went by?
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous. So that alone is fraud.
Okay. So people should know that there's a solve for that when they get something in the mail. Now, let me ask you this. So I derailed you when you were thinking that it was a police officer that gave me the ticket. So where were you at that point in time? You said you were going to.
Remember, your local government's a municipal corporation. They're corporations, okay?
Right.
So they hired this guy and they called him an officer and they gave him a gun, okay? He's a security guard for like McDonald's or Taco Bell. They just happen to give him a gun. He's a dangerous security guard. Most security guards don't have guns. He's got a gun. But he's a private employee of that corporation. Now let's talk about the municipal corporation, your local municipal corporation. Same basic stuff. Does your local municipal corporation, are you property of your local municipal corporation?
No.
Do you have a contract with your local municipal corporation?
Man, I'm starting to catch on. No.
Okay. How did they hire a private employee, give him a title of officer, and tell that guy, you could force people off the road by force of arms with your gun and fine them? How's that work? He's a private employee.
Right.
What's the only two ways a cop can interact with me? If there's a warrant for my arrest, in other words, a judge signed a warrant, and in order to get that warrant, there has to be an affiant that swore under oath or affirmation that they see me commit a crime or they know I'm about to commit a crime.
Okay.
Once they have that affidavit, then they can go to a judge and get him to sign the warrant. That's the only way that warrant can get signed, okay? Then the cop can come pick me up because now they have a supporting affidavit.
Okay.
Someone saying they see me do something or they know I'm going to do something, okay? Now, that person's still taking a lot of liability, whoever signed that, because if I could disprove that affiant, what they said was wrong, that's a whole different can of worms.
Okay.
But so he needs either a warrant. When that cop stopped you because you went through the red light, does the cop have a warrant on him? No. He's not going to run to the judge and get a warrant, and the judge would never give him a warrant for you running. Like, notice, say I ran a red light and the cops see me, but he couldn't catch me, but he knows where I live.
Yeah.
If he went to a judge and said, Alphonse Faggiolo, I know he ran that light. Judge, I need you to sign a warrant. That judge would say, what are you, mad? What are you, nuts? Because that's a code infraction. And judges only sign warrants for probable cause. Probable cause is crimes. In other words, I just said, an affiant's got to state that they watch you commit a crime or you're about to commit a crime. That's the only way the warrant gets signed, okay? So that judge would never sign a warrant for me going through a red light. Even though they know I did it, he's never going to sign it because it's not a crime. So now we know warrants are tied to crimes, not traffic code violations, you know?
Right.
So we know that he don't have a warrant when he's seen you go through the light. So what's the only other way the cop can stop me? He's got to have probable cause. In other words, he had to see me commit a crime, right? We just know that we just talked about the judge is not going to sign a warrant for me going through a light, right? Because it's not a crime. He knows that. Well, the cop, that's not probable cause for the cop, is it? For me violating their codes is not probable cause, right? Because it's not a crime. I didn't damage anybody and I didn't violate anybody's rights.
Wait. So if I have a cop right behind me and I'm at a red light and I just say, I'm feeling like ornery Uncle Odd, and I just, and I go through and I don't harm anyone. I don't, you're telling me that guy, that I can beat that ticket?
Yeah. In other words, he's going to stop you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's going to stop you, okay? Yeah. He's going to falsely arrest you, okay? Yeah, but you can beat that ticket because there's no probable cause. What did you stop me for? You went through the red light. Great.
Your question? What's your question when a cop stops you on anything?
What I did is I got a thing up on my site. It's called like a common law a day. I took my affidavit of status. Remember, that's notarized by a state. That's a state officer. The notary is a state officer. So here's the beautiful part with my affidavit is with using this. I'll show you what I'm doing. When you go to get your affidavit notarized, my affidavit of status, I go to the notary. I got to give them my slave license, okay, my driver's license.
Yeah.
My slave license. So they take my license and they go, "Yup, that's him." And they'll say, "Mr. Faggiolo, sign the affidavit." And I sign it in front of them. And then they sign it, they date it, and they put a state seal on it. They stamp it, okay?
Yeah.
With a notary seal. With the notary seal. That's a state officer that signed that, okay? So that state officer verified I am who I am. That's already been verified.
Right.
So now what I do is I take a copy of that with me. I mean, if I get stopped by a cop, I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but when I get stopped by a cop and he comes up to me, I just say, "Sir, I'm not traveling or using the license, but I'll be happy to provide you with identification." And I grab my affidavit of status and give it to him. That's ID. That's a state officer that verified that I am who I am. That's already been verified. That's identification. It's a state officer said that's verification.
Okay.
And Better yet, I don't need to argue with him over my rights, do I? Because they're pretty much all laid out in that affidavit of status. Who I am, where I came from, where my rights are.
Yeah.
So I don't need to argue with him over my rights, because how many times you see people, you're not going to get anywhere arguing with a cop on the side of the road. You're not. You're going to lose, okay? They think you're an idiot anyway. They just one of the monkeys. You're just another monkey that they pulled over, okay? So I don't need to argue with him now. I got my affidavit. Sir, any questions you ask me? Sir, everything's in my affidavit there. It's all stated there. And if he keeps pressing you, sir, anything I ask or anything I say or do, can you use it against me in the court of law, sir? He's going to say, yeah, sir. Sir, I'm going to have to exercise my Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights and not incriminate myself. Everything I have to say, sir, is in that ID, in my affidavit. I provided you identification. Anything he needs to know about me is in my affidavit of status. Now, here's his problem. If he wants to write me a ticket, didn't I just give him an affidavit of status? Sir, you write me a citation. Sir, I'm putting you on notice. You can keep that copy that I just gave you. You've now got 3 days to rebut my affidavit. Everything in my affidavit's the truth. In other words, if he don't rebut it, he's not going to rebut it, okay? He's going to go in default. So
how do you verify that you've served him?
Well, hopefully I've got a camera. I got a little pen camera. I got a little pen camera. Yeah. And a lot of guys have used their phones or they use their dashboard cams.
Got it.
If you, right in these days, get something like that with you. Use your phone or use your dashboard camera. Get like the little pen camera, so that you can verify that. Listen, I'm officially giving you this affidavit of status. I'm serving you this affidavit of status, sir. You've got 3 days to rebut that. Now he don't know what you're doing. He thinks you're in law, okay? But he's going to take the paperwork. And guess who he's going to go to when he first goes back to the station? Who's he going to make that phone call?
Well, he isn't going to go back to the station. He's going to go back to the back of his car.
Yes.
He's going to keep you there for indefinitely, right?
If he's smart, he's going to look at your affidavit of status and he's going to say, this is not the average monkey. This is an affidavit of status. He knows it's the state officer that stamped it, that signed it. This is ID. He can't say it's not identification. This is not identification. Can't say it's not identification because the state officer verified that was you and they signed it and stamped it. It's not no doubt whether it's an identification. It's ID.
That's a big deal right there. I mean, that's worth the price of admission to the Uncle Vigilante show here, the redirected Uncle Odd show. That's a big deal.
How's my name spelled on my affidavit, Uncle Odd?
What's that?
How's my name in my affidavit of status? How's that spelled? Isn't that in upper lowercase letters?
Yes.
Ooh, didn't I just take the driver license thing away, the all cap name? Because your name's in all capital letters.
Right.
I didn't give him one of them IDs. I gave him the king's ID. I didn't give him the slave's ID. I used the slave's ID just to get the notarization.
Right.
Now I got the king's ID. Upper and lower case. Mr. Officer, there you go. All of a sudden, like I said, if they're going to play that game, the upper case name, I just sort of defeated that with that affidavit, didn't I? Because my name's in upper and lower case letters.
Yeah, you know what the police officer is going to say? Huh?
Well, like I said, if he's smart, and you might get a good cop, and I've seen some good cops. Stop. I've seen some good cops. He might say, you know what? Be safe, Uncle Odd. Just watch what you're doing. Take care. Because if I'm a cop, and remember, they're used to dealing with the monkeys. He's done how many stops a day? He stopped 100 monkeys already. Okay. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's got you. You're not like the other monkeys. You didn't give him an ID in the registration. You gave him an affidavit of status, and you told him, hey, listen, sir, I just got to let you know, if you're going to write a citation for me, I'm going to need you to rebut this affidavit. And if you don't rebut it, I'm going to have to file a claim against you. Okay.
See, this is now. I want to say it again. This affidavit of status can be found at iamhassentmetooyou.com, right?
Yeah.
If you're watching this, whether it's live streaming now or later, and you don't go to iamhassentmetooyou.com, sorry, but you get what you deserve what you get. Look here.
What I'm doing to him so far. In other words, he stopped me. I'm not doing anything wrong. I didn't fail to identify myself. I gave my identification. Okay.
Right. That's beautiful.
He's asking me questions. Sir, everything I have to say, it's in that document. Those two pages you have.
Yeah.
Sir, everything I have to say is in that document.
Yep.
Sir, and if you play it by ear, then see what he's going to do. Is he going to let you go? Like you said, first thing he's going to do, Uncle Lod, he's going to go back to his car for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep.
And he's going to get the light out, and he's going to start reading your documents.
Yep.
And they make a call to the sergeant, whoever, and say, hey, I just stopped this guy. He gave me this affidavit of status. It's notarized. Well, if he's got a smart sergeant, whoever, a captain, whoever, they're going to say, let that guy go.
Yeah.
Don't get involved in this, okay?
Right.
If he's got but if he doesn't, and he wants to write me the citation, and he comes back to the car with Mr. Faggiolo, here's the citation. You have 10 days to respond. Great, sir. I appreciate that. Sir, here's my affidavit. That's for you to keep. You now have 3 days to respond, okay? Failure to respond is acquiescence, that everything in that affidavit's the truth. Okay. And when you don't respond, sir, I don't want to do this to you. I know you got a family and all, but I'm going to be forced to file a financial claim against you. You're going to be in.
What for? I'm the police officer. What the hell would your financial claim be against me?
Because, sir, you stopped me without probable cause. I didn't commit a crime. Okay. You have no warrant to stop me. You're a private employee for a municipal corporation. That's who you are. Okay. And if the affidavit, when I actually file this stuff with the court in like a traffic case, the 2 statutes I cite are 912 and 913, Title 18. One is imitating an officer. That's what he's doing. And one is a false arrest. Well, when he stopped you in the car, he don't have to officially arrest you. When he stops you, that's an arrest. Okay?
Right.
Each one carries 3 years. So when I put that in my affidavit of fact and I send it to the court, I'm not the average monkey. The prosecutor's looking at this. The attorney's going, let this one go. Let this not worth the aggravation. But the cop, like I said, if he's smart, he's going to come back and he's going to let you go. I can't guarantee that. There's a million different personalities out there. It all depends on what kind of cop you got.
Would you ever tell him, sir, let me tell you what's going to happen? Before you make any final decisions, sir, let me tell you what is going to happen.
Yeah, you could say, sir, listen, with all due respect, I mean this. I mean, sir, with all due respect, just let me state to you that, listen, here's what's going to happen. If you give me the citation, I'm going to be forced to serve this affidavit upon you, okay? You're not going to rebut that affidavit. You're going to take this affidavit back to your station, and your attorney's going to tell you, don't rebut that affidavit. You can't rebut it. That's going to put you in commercial default, okay? Because you're not going to be able to answer what's in that affidavit. So now you're going to be a commercial default. So now I'm going to have to file a notice of claim against you, a financial claim. Because, sir, what you did is a crime. You stopped me without probable cause, okay? You stopped me without a warrant. And they could say, well, you violated this code. Sir, are you an attorney? You're making legal determinations that, one, you have jurisdiction over me, and two, that the codes you're citing are applicable to me. Are you a judge? Are you a jury? Well, you're practicing law from the side of the road. With all due respect, sir, you're practicing law from the side of the road. And, sir, with all due respect, you're an employee of a municipal corporation, the local corporation. That's who you are. So I'm going to force you into court and make you explain how you pulled me off the road. How by force of arms you approached my car and forced me off the road. Listen, it's up to you. What do you want to do? Ball's in your court. But hopefully he gets your affidavit and he gets, what's going to happen? He's going to go back in his car. He's going to do a little reading and he's going to call somebody. He's going to call his superior and say, hey, Absolutely. This guy dropped an affidavit on me. What do you mean he dropped an affidavit? It's an affidavit of status. It's notarized. Let that guy go.
Can I ask you a question? This is coming from somebody who has been knee deep in all of this. But I will tell you, it's kind of like the world of cryptocurrencies and stuff. It's kind of like somebody telling you about this bike out there and just explaining to you how to ride the bike. But then when you go to ride it, it just, you fall down and you can't really do. Do you have anything on your website? I know you have a lot of documentation, but like what you just said, that little role play of going through that, I'm a visual learner. So that sunk in so much more for me than if I just read it. And I'm wondering if you already have some videos or if not, if you'd be open to maybe having some role play that I could work with you on this to be able to create some videos that are situational to where, because I just think that it's so important for people. And if people in the chat think that would be a good idea, let me know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I mean, that's why I started doing like these short little 15, 20-minute videos last couple of days, because writing something down is dry. People read a piece of, document. It's different when somebody explains it to you.
Yeah.
Just the basics,
The fact is, that people learn in different ways. Some are visual, some are auditory, some are kinesthetic. You have to feel, you have to do. And then some people are just emotional learners. They have to connect emotionally. So, nobody is all of those, and everybody has a little bit of each one of those. So, but you lean one way.
Sure.
So I find myself very visual and kinesthetic. So I will tell you, just through school, I could listen to a professor and I could write down notes, even though I was just writing down as fast as I could what they're saying. The fact I'm writing it sinks into my brain. If I just listened to them, it would go boop, boop, and so that my physical, it's important. That's why when I'm talking to you a lot, I'm writing. I'm not trying to be rude looking down.
But I mean, just knowing the basics, that guy is a private employee of a municipal corporation.
Right.
Well, how did that private employee get authority? Because they gave him a gun to force you off the road, to stop you from traveling, and to fine you. Where did he get that authority from? Because are you his property? No. Are you under his jurisdiction? He'll claim that, well, you're in my jurisdiction. And then, it's fun asking cops, excuse me, sir, who do you work for? Well, I work for the Borough of Media. Sir, factually, what is the Borough of Media? And the attorney will instinctively jump up and say, objection, calls for a legal conclusion. He's not qualified to answer the question, the cop. Well, he's not. If he's not qualified to answer that question, how did he determine he had jurisdiction over me to stop me? And how is he able to determine that his codes apply to me? If he can't tell me who he works for is, how can he make legal determinations that he had jurisdiction and that the codes applied? This happened. Mark Stevens has done this numerous times. He's gotten cops where they impeach their own witness because instinctively the attorney will jump up and say objection. It calls for a legal determination. He's not qualified to make that determination. Oh, he's not? He's already made them determinations. He determined he had jurisdiction when he stopped me, and he determined his codes applied to me. I need you to strike his testimony because you just impeached your own witness. Because that's what's going on. They won't let these guys answer these questions, these cops, when you get them like that. And you ask them just the basics. Sir, factually, what is the Borough of Media? And because he don't know. He has no idea what the Borough of Media is. And he's gonna look at the prosecutor like, help me. You're going to get that look from the cop like, please help me here. I don't know what to say, and the prosecutor's going to jump up and object. So that's how powerless what's going on with this traffic stuff, what they're really doing. Because when push comes to shove, there's no way this cop, think about it. Who's going to state that because they hired this guy and they gave him a title and a gun, that he has authority to pull you off on the side of the road? It's absurd. It's like McDonald's saying their security guard can pull you off on the side of the road.
Right.
No. Did I commit a crime? Remember, only two ways he could stop you: warrant, and he watched you commit a crime. And we know a traffic violation, a code violation, is not a crime, because we said the judge is not going to sign a warrant for me going through a light. So if he's not going to sign a warrant for a light, there's no crime. So when you ask the cop, what's your probable cause? Oh, you ran the light. Sir, are you claiming that's probable cause? Right. If he says yes, you don't know what he's talking about. Sir, are you sure of that? You sure that's probable cause? I'm giving you an out here. You sure that's probable cause? Because I know it's not. It's not a crime. Probable cause is a crime. Like I said, just the basic stuff like that. The two things I was taught. Hey, knock it off. Two things I was taught from Kelton, that you've got to do two things. You've got to get them out of their little cocoon. Everything they do is in this little cocoon. They don't want outside people looking at them. They hate the FBI looking at them, the postal inspector looking at them. They don't like that. The state's attorney general looking at them, even the district attorney looking at what's going on. They don't like that. Mm-hmm. And you've got to do, number two, unconventional things that they don't expect. So when the cop comes over, sir, I'm not traveling under the license. I'm not using the license, but I'll be happy to provide you with identification.
Right.
Aren't I being very helpful? Sure, sir. Here's my identification. What's this? Sir, that's my identification.
But sir, I need your driver's license.
Sir, I said I'm not traveling under the license, but I said I'm happy to provide you my.
You need to give me your driver's license. Do you not have a driver's license?
Sir, I take I'm exercising my Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights. Everything I have to say to you, sir, is right here in this document.
Sir,
why would I incriminate myself?
Give me your driver's license. Give me your driver's license, or get out of the car.
Then I get out of the car. But, sir, everything I have to say is in my document. Sir, are you threatening me? Are you making threats against me? What did I do? Well, what's the probable cause that you stopped me for, sir? We went through a traffic light. Sir, is that a crime?
Well, I am going to have to issue you a citation of driving without a driver's license.
Sir, you do anything you have to do, but just take note that the affidavit I've given you, I've now served it to you. You've got 3 days to respond to the affidavit. And when you fail to respond to the affidavit, you're going to be in commercial default, okay? Commercial default. And I'm going to have to file a notice of claim against you. So if your ticket's going to be for $150, $200, mine's going to be for about $10,000. And then you're going to get the question, sir, are you an attorney? Oh, no, sir. Sir, I keep my hands in my own pockets and I sleep well at night. I am not an attorney, No, I'm not an attorney. But he knows you're not the average monkey and you know a little bit something. In other words, I didn't pick this up off the internet. I didn't print some documents out off the internet and go, look, there's my stuff. Sir, listen, just let you know, that's great. You file, you give me whatever citation you want. I'm serving this upon you now, okay? You've got 3 days to respond. That's an affidavit. Failure to rebut the affidavit is acquiescence and tacit agreement that everything I put in there is true. So then when you don't respond, I'm going to be forced to file a notice of claim against you. And it's going to have a financial component to it. And you're going to
and it will be against, I'm going to be forced to file this against you personally. And there's,
I'm not going to file it against the township. I'm going to file it against you, the man, for
you the man.
For trespass and violate and administering my property without rights.
Yeah. And at minimum, it will be $10,000.
Yeah. And I'll ask for $10,000. And then we're going to go to court, and then you're going to realize the hard way that what you did was wrong. I'm not looking to hurt anybody. I'm not looking to hurt you. I'm not looking to hurt your family. But if you're going to violate my rights, I have to defend myself. And this is how I'm going to defend myself. You got 3 days to rebut the affidavit. You failure to rebut, I'm going to be forced to file a notice of claim.
Or you can just let me go on my way and we can call it.
Bygones be bygones. You go your way, I go my way. I go my way. Smart cop will do that. I've seen smart cops do that with people. But I've seen the jerk-offs that do the opposite,
Right.
They're the Nazis. They're going to drag you out of the car, break your window, He tells me to get out of the car. Sir, I'm in fear right now. I'm in fear for my safety. Sir, is that an order to get out of the car? And I'm going to make him say yes. Because if he gives me an order, now I'm going to make it real fun. I'm going to send him a bill for the order. Got out of the car?
What do you mean by that?
I'm going to send him a financial bill for the order. Sir, is that an order to get out of the car? Yes, that's an order. Great. I'll send him a bill for $500 for that order. I'm going to keep asking him, sir, is that an order? Everything he asked me. Is that an order? Yes. Because if he's going to make me get out of the car, that's an order, right?
Yeah.
If I came up to you, Uncle, and I said, Uncle, get out of your house. Can I make you do anything?
No.
But no. Isn't that what he's making me do? But he's armed. He's got to listen. Right. I'm going to listen to this guy. This guy's got a gun. I don't want to get shot. I'm not going to piss this guy off. Okay.
Right.
Sir, is that an order? Listen, sir, you're armed. I'm in fear for my life right now. I'm in fear for my safety and my life. I'm going to do anything you tell me to. But is that an order? Yes. Okay. Get out of there. So when I go home, not only do they have the affidavit, then I'm going to send them actual bill for the order. So-and-so gave me an order to get out of the car. I charge. How
do you establish the financial remuneration for your affidavit or when you file against them?
In other words, anything I determine. In other words, you shouldn't be messing with me. If you don't like my prices, you don't like my prices,
right?
You should be messing with me. Listen, I'm expensive.
But do you think the court would ever grant that?
There have been people that have, they walked into courts with orders, and to be there at the court, and they asked for like $2,500, and the attorney went berserk, and the judge said, "Listen, I'll give you $500," because they're taking your time up to be there. Well, who are they to order you to be somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
That reconciles with me of being able to say, look, I'm a business person. My time is valued, and this is going to be a real inconvenience for me. I can tell already all the way around. And I just want to let you know that if you choose to do this, it's your choice. But here's my affidavit, and let me tell you what's going to happen. And just please take me seriously as far as knowing what I'm doing, and that I will do this, because I don't want to mess with you. I don't want you messing with me. But this is what's going to happen, and it will probably cost you at least $2,500, sir.
Sir, listen, with all due respect, I don't mean you any ill will, but if you're going to give me a citation, I'm going to be forced to serve you this affidavit. You've got 3 days to respond. Failure to respond, you're going to be in commercial default. I'm going to have to file notice of claim against you. This is not the average monkey. He just pulled 99 monkeys.
Okay, do that again, except what I appreciate is at the end, I'd like you to ground it instead of I'm going to force to now add some value to that. Like what's that going to mean? Because that's where it gets interesting.
Sure. Sir, listen, with all due respect, you're forcing me to defend myself. So I'm going to provide you this affidavit. I'm serving this affidavit to you. You've got 3 days to respond. You're not going to respond. And when you take this to your attorney, which I'm sure this is where this is going to wind up, he's going to take this to his legal people. Okay. They're going to tell you not to fine. You're going to be in commercial default at that point. When you're in commercial default, I'm going to file a notice of claim against you. And when I file that notice of claim, it's going to have a financial component of it of $10,000. And in that claim, I will state why I'm asking for the $10,000 for actions you've taken. Now,
against you personally. I'm
not going to file against it. I don't file against fiction, sir. I file against men and women. I don't file against the township or the borough. I file against men and women. You did this thing to me. You're the one that forced me off the road. So now he's got a decision to make. You know, he can be a jerk off, or he can call me on it. And guess what? I'm going to file the claim against him. And
now, somebody in the chat just said proof of jurisdiction, please. Do you ever ask that to a cop?
They're not even going to know what you're talking about. Okay. He's not going to be. Listen, here's the only way jurisdiction's established, and this is a lot of people have misconceptions about jurisdiction. The only entity that can sort of prove jurisdiction would be a court. Okay, but all courts, they're called inferior courts. All courts are inferior courts. What that means is they only get jurisdiction through the sufficiency of the pleading, of the attorney's pleading or your pleading. In other words, the pleading grants them jurisdiction depending on the facts of the pleading. Okay. Now, the only way they attempt to get, they need two jurisdictions in order to, they need two jurisdictions in order to hear this case. They have to have both of them. If they don't, they can't hear the case. They need personal jurisdiction of you, the man, okay? They need subject matter jurisdiction of the matter of what's being brought before them. Personal jurisdiction, the way they try and acquire personal jurisdiction is process server. When you hired that process server and he went and served them, that's the court's way of trying to get together the personal jurisdiction. Okay. Now, doesn't mean just because they got served that you can't take the personal jurisdiction away from them. Okay. You still can if you know what you're doing, but that's the court's way of trying to acquire personal jurisdiction. Remember, they need both jurisdictions. So now that process server served that guy, and if he don't rebut that in right away, like something with an affidavit or what I did, or he's going to file a motion to dismiss or whatever, or give you an answer. He sort of agreed that court has personal jurisdiction in this matter, okay? So now the court says, all right, we got personal jurisdiction. Now we come to subject matter jurisdiction. And subject matter jurisdiction really revolves around an injured party. In other words, you need to have standing. When you hear subject matter jurisdiction, think of standing.
Okay.
Does the person have standing to bring this matter?
What is standing?
Standing means that I violated one of your rights, or I damaged, or I harmed you in some way.
Okay.
Or you have to be an injured party. That's standing.
Okay.
Only someone that had a right violated, or say I kept you somewhere, like I didn't let you enter a store. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't I detain you? Didn't that violate your right?
Yeah. So I have standing now. So if I went home and told my wife that this happened to me, and she has more of a fighting spirit than Uncle Odd does, and she says, damn it, I'm going to sue them now. She doesn't have standing because she wasn't the injured party, right?
She's got no personal knowledge. Nope, she's not the injured party, and she has no personal knowledge of the matter.
Okay. That's hearsay.
Yes, it's hearsay.
We're
nobody
learning.
can enforce your rights for you. Nobody else can enforce your rights for you. Okay? No man can enforce your rights for you. Isn't that crazy when a cop tries to enforce rights for a corporate fiction, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that don't even have rights? It's bizarre. Okay.
This is awesome.
Now I lost my train of thought.
What I derailed you. We were talking. Oh shit.
I lost my train of thought. See what happens when you get old?
Well, let me pivot to something that this is now personal, right? And so I want you to help me out here. So I live in a community. It's a gated community that we have a homeowners association. And up until recently, it's been a reasonable HOA.
Okay.
But on Friday, all of the residents got this it's like somebody went full on dictator. And there were 4 things that were in there. They're basically saying that no longer can you have more than 3 pets, including pets like a ferret. No longer can you have a dog, as you have 2 German Shepherds. I have a German Shepherd, and we know German Shepherds are German Shepherds, right? That is considered an aggressive breed, which would be my dog. And I think that was pointed towards me. And then it was something about children playing in a cul-de-sac. I live on a cul-de-sac. There are some wonderful girls that play there every day, and they don't hurt a thing, but somebody that's a get off my lawn kind of, neighbor must have been bitching about something. So anyway, they come out with all of these, and if they come give me shit about my dog, and basically say, look, you can't have even it. I imagine in the original HOA, it may have said something about, from an insurance standpoint about aggressive dog. I don't know if it did or didn't. I'd have to look. But anyway, if they try to go full on Nazi with this, what do
remember that word said they? Okay, remember that word now. Good. Keep going.
I'm just like, what is my move?
Well, you just said they.
Yeah.
Who is they?
Right. The HOA is a hired.
No. Who is they? There is no they.
Okay.
There's either a man or woman that's moving this claim against you.
Okay. Fine.
A man or woman determined. Excuse me. Who from the HOA is making this claim? I need a name.
Okay.
Okay. They don't take we, us, they.
Okay.
Because that's fairyland stuff. Well, we.
Yeah.
Who's we? When you start drilling it down.
Yeah, great.
Who's we? I need a name. Who's making this claim? And I don't know your HOA agreement. I'd have to look at your HOA agreement, but I guarantee. Did you grant them rights to just keep making new ordinances and codes and whatever in there? I highly doubt that's anywhere in that HOA agreement. Remember, also that HOA thing you signed, that's not a contract. That's a service agreement you signed, okay?
Right.
Because nobody from the other side of the HOA signed the other side, okay? That's a service agreement you have with the HOA. Great. Okay, I'd have to read your HOA, but where in the HOA thing does it say that they could just keep moving the goalposts, basically?
Right.
Anything they want to determine, we can move the goalpost.
Yeah.
I don't agree to that. To me, if they start doing that, even if it was a contract, and you start changing the terms of our agreement, aren't you in breach of the contract or a breach of the agreement? So I would look at my HOA agreement, and if there's not something specifically that states that they can do what they're doing right now, I would argue, hey, you guys are in breach of your own agreement. You're in breach of your own service agreement here. Where in here does it state that I agree to that you can do this? I didn't agree to that.
Well, but here's what. It's just like if you don't, and let me use if you don't cut your grass, right? Or if you don't have no shit, if you don't have a gold mailbox flag, can't be red, it has to be gold, right? If you don't, then they will fine you. Ultimately, they can, if you don't respond to any of this stuff, they can put a lien on your property.
You kept saying they.
Yeah.
Who's going to fine you? Who's fining you, Unc? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Got to be a man or woman.
Okay.
So when that fine shows up, who's responsible for this fine? Oh, the board. No. I need names. I need the men and women's names who are responsible for making. This is a legal claim you're making here. Okay.
Right.
you're making a legal determination that you can do, that you can find me without any verified claim that I did anything or damaged you in any way. That you just have this authority to keep making these rules for me. I never agreed to that. Remember, what did I say? If there's a contract, we went over the elements of a contract. Doesn't have to be a meeting of the minds for a contract to exist.
Yes.
And if I withhold something from you, or I'm not upfront about something with you, that voids that contract.
Yeah.
You signed that HOA agreement. You're under the understanding that things are going to stay as is. Basically, this is it. Now you are bringing in all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah.
Can't play. Oh, the dogs. This is a vicious dog. You're just making it up. You're in violation of your own service agreement.
Yes.
Or call it a contract, which it's not. You're in violation of your contract because that's not my understanding of the HOA agreement that I said. Did you sign the HOA agreement?
Right.
Did you sign that? I mean, did they make you sign them?
Yes.
Okay. Here's your thing. That was not my understanding of the HOA agreement when I signed it. That was not my understanding. So then you don't have a meeting in a mind, right?
Yes. Not
my understanding. So who's the person over there that's saying that they can do this to me? And don't let them say they or we or no. No, they didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. A man or woman made this determination and put this down on a piece of paper and said that they can do this to me and impose this on me. I need that man or woman's name because I'm going to have a problem with this man or woman because now I'm going to start filing affidavits against them. An affidavit status. Because guess what? Your little HOA rules don't supersede my constitutionally secured rights. Okay? And any agreement I made with the HOA, listen, my understanding is different than your understanding of what we agreed to. My agreement was that it's just status quo. We were going to pretty much keep things as they are. But you're not doing that. You keep moving the goalpost. Kids can't play. This dog's vicious. What next? I got to paint my house purple? I mean, where did it end, you know? Because that's not my agreement of the signed HOA agreement we signed. So sir or madam, we must not have had a meeting of the minds. Mm-hmm. So that agreement is void. I'm sorry, this agreement is void because we never had a meeting of the minds because my understanding of the HOA agreement was things were going to stay as the status quo. But you're not doing that. You keep adding this and adding that and adding that. First of all, I don't see it in here where you have that authority to do such a thing. Mm-hmm. And two, that's not my understanding of the agreement. So we never had a meeting of the minds because my understanding was totally different. So we never had an agreement with each other.
Right.
And if you're going to claim you can do these things to me without going through the judicial process and filing a claim against me so that I can properly, remember, I got to have proper notice and opportunity to defend myself. I got to know who's making a claim against me so I can see the complaint and I got a name on it and I got to be summoned to court so I have a chance to answer. But you're not doing that. You're just claiming that you can issue me fines for things that I never agreed to and never had an understanding of. So I need to know who the exact man or woman is that's going to take responsibility and liability for what you've sent me.
So the person who is sending you the fine, there needs to be a person, and they actually, to do it legitimately and correctly, they would have to, sue you? Or
sure, but they can't. But they can't sue you. They would have to sue you. Legitimately, they would have to sue you. But there's no cause of action to bring you into court for. Because all they would know what they would argue. They would argue you're in breach of contract. You're in breach of the HOA contract. That's what they would argue. But didn't we just talk about that that's not a contract?
Right.
Agreement. In other words, who from the HOA is going to come in and testify against you, Uncle?
So I can just ignore it, basically?
I put them on notice. I tell them, hey, I bring these contradictions up, but I would do it by way of affidavit.
Okay.
I give my affidavit a status.
Yep.
You want to send them that, okay? You send that with every document you sent. Just to let them know that my rights don't come from the HOA. My rights come from my creator.
Right.
I'm not your property. And then I would do an affidavit of fact and bring up everything we just said. Hey, basically, look at when I signed this HOA, the HOA agreement, my understanding was this. Here was my understanding.
Yeah.
You're stating that you can do this. I never agreed to that. I never understood that or never agreed to that. So then you and I never had a meeting of the minds. Put that in my affidavit. Me and you never had a meeting of the minds. So we could not have had an agreement because we have to have a meeting in the minds to have an agreement. I never knew you were going to do this. You never spelled it out. Nowhere in here have you spelled this out. These things you're going to do, right? So I'm putting them on the defensive.
Yeah.
Say now, not only are you now basically what you're doing is now you're trespassing upon you, your body. They're trespassing upon your property. You're trespassing and you're administering my property without right. You have no right to be doing what you're doing with my property. So I'm going to put that in an affidavit of fact. And then I'm going to file my third and my crown jewel. I'm going to give them the notice of claim. Hey, by the way, you people trespassed, administer my property without right, and I guarantee that fine you got, there's nobody's name going to be on there. Nobody going to sign that. It's going to come from they. It's going to come from we. It's going to come from us. It's going to come from the HOA association. They'll print their name down there, the HOA. I highly doubt somebody's going to put their name on there or sign it. Okay, they want to remain oblivious to that, like you know. So now I'm going to file a notice of claim. Hey, you guys are trespassing, administer my property without right. And oh, by the way, this document you gave me, this is forgery. I don't see anywhere you have authority to do this to me, and I don't even have a name on here who's trying to do it to me. By the way, I need to make a claim against you guys for 15 grand, 20 grand.
That's what I like to hear.
Because you guys, I look at it this way, you guys are in breach of your own agreement. Here's your agreement. Where does it say the kids can't play? Where does it say my dog's this, vile, vicious or something? Where does it say anywhere in your agreement? Where did I agree to that? Because you just moved the goalpost. Can't do that in a contract. If you and I have a contract, I can't keep changing the terms of the contract. If you and I have an agreement, we have a real contract, meaning you sign a contract, and I say, listen, Uncle Lod, I want to add this other clause to the contract. You've got to sign off on it. You've got to initial it. If you agree to it, say you have a contract and we're reasonable with each other, and my costs went up in some way, and I am getting damaged. I say, listen, Uncle Lod, I'm really taking a bath with this. I'm going to have to declare bankruptcy or whatever. I'm going to, and you say, listen, I don't want you to do that. You can raise my rate to this. I'll agree to that. You got to sign off on that. Okay. In other words, that new clause that was entered, you've got to agree to. Otherwise, if you didn't agree to it, I just can't keep adding new things in. Like, hey, let's make them paint their house purple this month. No. So,
but do you have any experience? John Jay shared with me. It was on one of the previously deleted channels, but John Jay had shared that within your HOA, you can get a group of people to form their own HOA, and then if somebody ever filed a lien on your property and they actually foreclosed on your property, the HOA could then file, I don't know, I'm destroying the words, but basically file a lien against the person holding the mortgage now and get it back and then give it to the property owner.
Yeah, he's real good with that stuff, John Jay. Yeah. That sounds like the private membership associations. I think he's talking about.
Yeah, I think that's probably
private membership association. So in a way, you're creating your own little jurisdiction. And the only thing between that is we were talking all night about just personal rights, your individual rights. Okay, yeah, that's more a group rights thing. Where if like you said, you got this out of control homeowners association, and maybe you get 10 neighbors together and say, we're done with these people. Yeah, let's get our own little group together. We're going to do our own thing. Let's go set up that's John Jay stuff. But I think what that does, that private membership association, in a way, it creates your own little jurisdiction.
Okay.
Separate from that.
If they keep pushing this, I'm Uncle Lod's project guy. I like that as a project.
Remember, these are button pushers you're dealing with, okay?
Yeah.
They're so used to running people over. When someone like you or me goes up against them and we start asking just the basic questions like, are you saying my land and property on the county's land? You start asking these questions, they get that deer in the headlights look.
So do me a favor for all of us, because I love this. I've heard it before, but I want to hear it again. Can you share with all of us the story about how when you came in, the judge ran?
No, he didn't run. There was a guy, like I said, remember we talked about personal knowledge? I have no personal knowledge of this. I did the Crow Show, and I've been filing a ton of affidavits with the county of Delaware. It's a little county in Pennsylvania. and they had somebody called them up that knew Jason, the co-host.
Yeah.
Said, I was talking to somebody from the county of Delaware.
Oh, that's right.
We were talking about, they started talking, they said they found out that it was me they were talking about. It was Alphonse they were talking about. And he stated basically that they don't, he stated they don't know what to do with me. I don't really know what that, it's a little ominous when you think about it. They don't know what to do with me. What, are they going to knock me off? What are they, right. You going to send a hit team out after me? They don't know what to do with them. And he said now here's where we're talking about groups getting together. They said one Alphonse they could sweep under the rugs. This guy said this. One Alphonse they could sweep under the rug. 2, 3, 4 Alphonses here. 2 Alphonses here. 2 or 3 Alphonses there. That's a major problem, okay? Because you could derail the system. Because everything we talked about tonight, I'm not making this up, okay? I didn't pull this out of my rear end. I mean, this is based in law, okay?
Right.
And when you do this stuff and you fight this stuff, you start to figure this stuff out. You just have to unwind your mind from how we've been programmed.
Right.
And when you learn that everything they're doing is a fraud, just the paperwork they send you when it says Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Wait a minute. Oh no, I'm representing. Then the prosecutors say I'm representing the people of the Commonwealth. Oh really? So what? 90% of the people are pissed off at me? Is it 50% of the people? How many of these people from Pennsylvania are mad at me here? Who's filing it against me?
Right.
People? Can I bring them in and question the people of Pennsylvania? No. So then wait a minute. You're an attorney. Well, first of all, you have any evidence to remember he's an agent.
Yeah.
Okay. When you hire an attorney, you're the principal. You hire him as your agent. So the attorney's claiming he's an agent working on behalf of the county or the state. But we know they're fictions, okay?
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Remember, he's just a bar member. He's not in the government. He's really just a bar member. He's a member of a private association called the bar.
Right.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have any evidence of your agency? Do you have a principal? Did anyone? Can you provide me an affidavit from a principal stating that they hired you? I need to know who hired you. Well, I'm the solicitor for the county. Sir, you can tell me that's hearsay. You can tell me anything you want. I don't know who you are. I never saw you before. Sir, I need to know who hired you. Who told you to take these actions against me? Because these are crimes you're committing. I need to know who to hold accountable. Sir, who hired you? I need a name, sir. Either you hired yourself or somebody hired you. Well, the board hired me. The board, great. Who from the board are you going to bring in here? I need somebody to testify that they hired you. Because, sir, you're committing crimes against me. I need to know who to hold accountable for. Because if some guy hired you, I'm going to go after him too, in addition to you. Somebody hired you to do this to me? I need a name. So now he got him screwed up just with his agency. He can't even prove he's a right to be there, okay? But anything he files or anything he says, does he have personal knowledge of anything he says regarding you or me? No. It's all second-hand, third-hand. Well, even among their corrupt system, their corrupt rules, there's a rule called Rule 602. It's both a state and federal rule. It states you must have personal knowledge of a matter to testify. That's not him. Okay?
Wow.
He can't testify. And the case I cited to you, this is one I throw back in their face when that attorney files a motion to dismiss. It's Trinsley versus Pagliaro. It's actually a Pennsylvania case. And the holding of the case means that the determination, really what they were saying is an attorney's pleadings, which means his paperwork, an attorney's pleadings, though helpful, are not sufficient for motion to dismiss or for summary judgment. In other words, the attorney's pleadings are hearsay.
Right.
Like I remember I told you, when that attorney files a motion to dismiss, Trinsley versus Pagliaro. Though an attorney's pleadings are helpful, they're not. And
that's federal?
That I think it was a Supreme Court case. I think it was Supreme Court. Okay. I know it went to the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, but it's called I forget the title of it. Basically, you can use decisions made in other states in your state. That's fair. Okay. I forget it off the top of my head. But basically, you can use other decisions, and that's a very famous one, Trinsley versus Pagliaro. It's been used. Okay. And so what that's stating is the obvious, that the attorney has no personal knowledge of anything.
Right.
So he can't file paperwork to get something dismissed that he don't have personal knowledge of.
I mean, so that has to be my go-to when they file their motion to
Do
dismiss.
it all the time, and no one calls them on it. Excuse me, Trinity versus Pagliara. Sir, you have no jurisdiction in this matter. You have no legal standing in this matter. You have no personal knowledge in this matter. As was immortalized in Trinity versus Pagliara, that states an attorney's pleadings, though helpful, are insufficient for a motion to dismiss or for summary judgment. So
now, so because I've never been through this legal process before, when they file a motion to dismiss, when Costco does, they're filing it with the judge.
They'll give you a copy. They got to file a copy with you, and they'll file a copy with the court. Okay, they got to file a copy in the court.
Okay, so then is it my move?
Yeah, they give you Pennsylvania's 20 days. I think most are 20 days. They give you 20 days in Pennsylvania to respond to a motion.
Okay, so then I'm responding to the motion back to them and to the judge, and that's
you're going to respond back to them, but you're going to give a copy to the court when you file
to the court, and basically I'm saying thanks, but no thanks. You don't have jurisdiction. You don't have the whatever you just said.
Hey, I don't even know who you are. In other words, you weren't there that day.
Right.
Okay, I don't know who you are. You've got no jurisdiction over me in this matter. You've got no legal standing in this matter. And worst of all, you've got no personal knowledge of anything regarding this matter because he wasn't there that day.
Yeah.
You can't have personal knowledge.
So then once you do that, then what does the court have to do then?
Well, then it's up to, like I said, you're dealing with these corrupt judges, okay? And remember, here's the problem with the Bar Association. Here's the really corrupt part about the Bar Association. The Bar Association is a private legal society that you and I are not a member of, okay? Well, the judge is a member of the Bar Association. The prosecutor is a member of the Bar Association. And your attorney is a member of the Bar Association.
Right.
When you look at the Bar Association's paperwork, guess who? There's two allegiances that are higher than you that they have allegiance to. Guess what that is?
London.
The court, number one, okay? And the Bar Association, number two. So you got three attorneys in this matter. You don't have a shot because these three attorneys that are all part of this private legal society called the Bar have a duty to the court first, which means to extract the money out of your pocket, okay? They have a duty to the court first, and they have a duty to the Bar Association second, and you're low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
You got a shot in this proceeding, okay? That's why you try and handle stuff yourself, And
right.
I think he's helping you with that stuff, basically.
Yeah.
You're a lot more powerful when you handle stuff yourself.
Yeah,
you don't have these barriers, basically. Even the attorneys. Here's the biggest. Everyone's worried about the upper cap name, right? The all caps name. You hear about that, right? You want to know the greatest theft of freedom that's ever been created among the people by the Bar Association? It's called the Rules of Civil Procedure.
Okay.
Everyone has them. Federal government has them too. State, it's the Rules of Civil Procedure. The Rules of Civil Procedure were written by the Bar Association, private legal society, okay?
Yeah.
Aren't the courts open public courts? These are the people's courts, right? The Bar Association doesn't own those courts, do they?
No.
They might work there, but they're not their courts, okay?
Right.
So now we have a private legal society. We have an open public court. But yet this legal society, they created these things called Rules of Civil Procedure.
Mm-hmm.
What these rules do is they usurp your unalienable, which can't be done. They usurp your unalienable constitutionally protected rights because these Rules of Civil Procedure allow that petty Fager-Shyster attorney to come into the court and file a suit against you in the name of a corporate fiction.
Ah.
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He can't do that without the Rules of Civil Procedure.
Wow.
Then he's bound by the Constitution and the real law of the land, okay?
Yeah.
So they're proceeding according to the Rules of Civil Procedure. And here's another trick they're doing, that they're doing to you.
Yeah.
When they get you in a hearing and you handle it yourself, and this might have been already passed for you, but they're going to try and categorize you as pro se. Okay? They're going to categorize you as pro se.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what they're doing with that. Remember, they're dealing with these Rules of Civil Procedure. They're violating your rights.
Yep.
God, man, government, corporations, judges. Yep. Okay? When they call you pro se, and they'll tell you, well, now you're just like an attorney, basically. You have the same rights as the attorney.
Okay.
Well, the attorney's low man on the totem pole.
Okay.
So when you identified yourself as pro se, You just lowered your status down from man. You went all the way down to where the attorney's at. Now you're on his level.
So when I filed, I did that?
Probably did, because they probably have it on their paperwork. Usually they do. Like, in other words, if you're, I never say I'm representing myself. No, I am myself. I can't represent myself. An attorney represents somebody, represents another entity, another man or woman. Or a fiction, a corporate fiction. He's representing somebody else.
Yeah, right.
I am myself. I can't represent myself.
Can you just cross out the RE and then initial it?
You can cross it out and put your own thing in there and file it with the court. Yes, you're allowed to do that.
But if I've already done it, did I screw up?
Well, no. What they're going to try and argue basically is that the rules of civil procedure apply, because remember, if you've agreed to be pro se, you've agreed to operate under the rules that the attorney's operating under. Well, he's operating under his buddy's rules.
Right.
Civil procedure. Okay, so it's a whole sham. The whole rules of civil procedure.
Figure out how to unpack that then.
Are a sham. Well, you could file a motion. You could file an affidavit into the court and state, "Whoa, I just realized that there's an error in the filing here. I'm not pro se.
Okay.
I'm not a member of the legal society. I'm not pro se. I'm not a member of the legal society, and basically just state that I'm a man. I'm not going to lower my status. I just realized that you basically, I'm sure their paperwork had check boxes on there for pro se.
Yeah.
That you people that this is a way to try and lower my status down from man to a pro se. I'm not pro.
Okay.
Listen, I'm a man. I have a right to tell the truth.
So I can amend the lawsuit. Just
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't take yourself out as pro se and just put yourself as man.
Okay.
I'm a man, and if they ask you about that, just say, listen, a pro se is equivalent to an attorney. I'll be lowering my status down from a man. I'm not going to lower my status down from man.
Okay.
Because when they can call you pro se, well, now you're under the rules of civil procedure.
So when you declare yourself a man and all of that, you don't have to go through all the rigmarole of having a new birth certificate and all that.
That's nonsense. All that stuff's nonsense.
Okay.
Nobody's going to walk into court. Listen, nobody ever is going to walk into court and say, Mr. Faggiolo, got authority over you. We bought your birth certificate.
Okay.
Not going to happen. And the DMV, like with your car, they say, well, you only own title. The DMV owns the car. BS. Nonsense. Okay. Because when I file an affidavit, that's my conveyance, if I want to call it that. Okay. Yeah. That's my property. Nobody from the DMV is going to come into court and say, no, Mr. Faggiolo signed this car away to us. No man or woman is going to come in and testify to that. So that's all BS and hearsay. That, well, you only own title. They own the car. Nonsense. And this is what affidavits are good for. They cut through all that BS, because when I write down that this is my property, unless you rebut me, it's my property.
Yeah.
And if I want to remove something from the past that I've done, I'll state, hey, what you're doing here is illegal or unlawful, and this acts as a nunc pro tunc, which means from now to any previous time, anything I sign back is null and void.
Okay.
So affidavits cut through all that birth certificate nonsense.
Okay.
Even KL, who came on, he's a big. He actually went to court and got him to change the birth certificate to upper and lowercase letters. Okay, he actually got them to do that. He's one of the few people I even know that ever done something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's funny because we're totally opposite. He's doing UCC financing statements and all that.
Yeah.
He's in that world, but he's real good at it. He's great at it. That's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny, when he was on Crow, he said, he actually mentioned me a couple of times. He said, that's why this stuff Alphonse does works. He said, because he's filing affidavits into the case stating that he's the man. And when he stated he's the man, if they want to act like it's a trust set up under your name, he's actually stating, he said that he's the beneficiary. Basically, if you're the beneficiary, you have superior claim. So he stated basically that when he files those affidavits, what he's actually stating is he's got superior claim. No one in this court has claim over him. Nobody can come forward and issue claim over him because it's his property. He stated it's property in the affidavit. Nobody's going to come against him. So even though we're different, me and him differ in that way, we're both arriving sort of at the same.
You're going to like this. When this video renders, I'm going to title it Alphonse, the man. The man.
Well, listen, it's funny is I don't want to get into this stuff to do. Listen, I got a life. I want to go. I want to go buy a place in Florida on the water and go fishing and crabbing. I don't want to keep
Come
doing
to Tampa, so that we can hang out.
I like Tampa.
Yeah,
but hard to find a place on the water. Hard to find a place on the water in Tampa.
Hard to find what?
A place on the water in Tampa with golf access. You know, with access to the golf.
Yeah, you can't. By Tampa, I mean the greater Tampa area. Yeah.
I just want to do that. I don't want to be like no law expert. You know, I don't want to do this stuff. But
right.
Because I got pushed into this, I said, you know what? I had enough of this. But I get a kick out of, listen, when a guy from Bulgaria tells you, hey, these guys didn't show up to their own hearing. That's the problem. Okay? They've been having them for 6 years. He files affidavits against them. They don't show up to their own hearing. Judge is pissed.
That's awesome. Look, you're making a difference, Alphonse. You really are. And I applaud you. I think that's one thing about 2020 where it turned the world upside down, but in a crazy kind of way, it has woken up so many of us. And
well, let me give you a short story that'll hopefully give people hope, because I know everyone thinks that this is a rigged system and you can't win, right? That there's no way to win. I had a woman contact me through the Crow Show. And she had a nephew living with her, and she had to kick the nephew out because he was acting up. So she kicked him out. Well, for spite, he went to the cops and told them that she was growing marijuana in her house. Okay, that's her business. She's not a distributor. She's not like hurting people. They raided her house and arrested her. Okay,
wow. And
she wrote to me, and she's really, she said I filed paperwork into this matter, and she said that they're ignoring my paperwork. They're not paying attention to anything I'm doing. And I said, all right, let's go back to ground zero. Let's do affidavit of status, and let's do an affidavit of fact. We're going to detail what happened that day. And one of the things happened that day is when they came into that house, guess what they didn't have when they came into her house?
Warrant.
They didn't have a warrant. Ooh.
Yeah.
We highlighted that in the affidavit. And we highlighted a bunch of other stuff. So she had to go to a hearing. If you didn't have an attorney, you had to go to this hearing a week before your trial was supposed to happen. So she had to go to this hearing, and she took her paperwork, her new affidavits that she did, and she took them to the clerk of the court. And she wouldn't follow her paperwork. The clerk wouldn't take her paperwork. And she's arguing with her. The clerk won't take her paperwork. So she goes upstairs to the court where they're at, and the bar's there, the gate's there, and they call her to come up. And then she's of the mind, if I cross that bar, I'm giving jurisdiction away. If I cross that gate. So 3 times they asked her, said, come on in. She said, listen, if I cross this gate, am I waiving jurisdiction of anything? Listen, come on in. Listen, if I cross this gate, am I waiving jurisdiction of anything? Listen, come on in. Listen, if I she kept saying it. Finally, the assistant prosecutor walked up to the gate. She was on the other side. He stayed on the other side. He talked to her. She said, listen, she said, the clerk won't take my paperwork. And he said, give me your paperwork. I'll get it filed. I really think he underestimated her. He thought that she was one of these free man on the land kind of things, She's got this crazy paperwork she got from the internet, whatever, and she's, give it to me, I'll file it. So the next week she had to go back, and they actually wouldn't let her in the court because she wouldn't wear the mask. So they're out front on the steps. And the assistant prosecutor comes out, and she said, did you file my paperwork? He said, no. He said, why do you file my paperwork? Hemming and hawing. He's got all kinds of excuses. In the meantime, she also created another affidavit called an affidavit of discrimination against the clerk for not taking her paperwork. So now she added another affidavit. She did this on her own. God bless her. I love people like that.
Yeah.
Take what I gave you, and if you can expand on it, God bless you.
Yeah.
Okay. So now she's got 3 affidavits. So now she marches down to the she said she got in this conversation with the guy, with the assistant prosecutor, and he keeps trying to call her defendant and keeps trying to put her, and she kept, I'm not the defendant. I'm not a defendant. Anything he stated, she just kept rebutting. And he said, let me get your number. So he wrote her number down on the folder. And she then went downstairs to the same clerk, and she had a video camera with her. Same clerk. And she said, with the affidavit of discrimination on top, I want you to file stamp everything in here. That same clerk that wouldn't take her paperwork, file stamped everything in her paperwork. Okay. Filed it. 4 hours later, assistant prosecutor calls up. We're going to drop the charges.
Wow.
Go on. Know what happened? He took her paperwork thinking she's some nutter. She's some free man on the land thing, He probably printed this from the internet. That guy, one of them types,
Yeah.
He got this off the internet. He read that and went, oh shit, these are affidavits. Affidavit of status. Oh, look, affidavit of fact. Oh, no warrant. Oh, isn't it? She's saying they had no warrant and she did it in an affidavit. They had no warrant. Okay. Now, who's going to rebut this? He looked at that and he went, I can't file this. Because if he files this, it's like self-incrimination. Because what they did was a crime, okay? Now, that's one of many things like that. That's the power of an affidavit, because it's stating, hey, I'm willing to come in under penalty of perjury and swear to everything on here that this is the truth. And think about a judge. You got a judge. He's supposed to be a neutral party. Wink, wink, okay? Yeah. Not neutral about him. Right. But then you got two sides fighting, okay? So the one side says, listen, I wrote this stuff down on a piece of paper. I'll testify to it. I'll go to jail for anything I put down on this piece of paper. Judge hears that. The other side goes, well, I ain't doing that. I'm not filing that. Well, now you're the judge. Who's telling the truth here in this matter? Right. The one willing to take the hit, right? Yep. The one willing to put their rear end on the line. That's what Solomon would say. That's the power of the affidavit, basically. Wow. Well, Alphonse, this has been outstanding education. Thank you so much. I mean, it's just I have learned more tonight than all this last year of just hearing it here and there. So thank you for things right down for me and use them all the time. Am I your property? Am I your property? Do I have a contract with you? Number two, did I relinquish my rights to you? You're done. Those three questions will get you through almost everything. Wow. What's the other side going to say? What could they possibly respond to? Right. Right. Well, this is the law. Excuse me. Were you there when this was written? This law here? You have no personal knowledge of this law, do you? Do you have a legal degree? You're making legal determinations that this piece of paper now applies to me. You have a law degree? Because that's a fraudulent claim you're making. You're trying to claim a piece of paper applies to me that I'm not a signatory to. The only way a piece of paper could apply to me is if I have a contract. I signed it. I never signed that thing called a statute. Those three questions cause hell. Wow. Oh, we love the fact that when Alphonse goes into court, the defense attorney or the prosecutors go, huh? Oh, that's what we were talking about real quick. That guy testified that they shut the courts down twice on me, and they were shut. I don't know if they did it for me, but they 2 times I showed up. He said they did it on purpose. The courts were closed. I can't testify to that, but yeah, that's where I lost my train of thought. Well, that's great to end on that, because we love the fact that there's closure to that. And unfortunately, we're going to shut it down. We wanted to keep it to 2 hours, and we did. So, gosh, we went 3. Holy cow. Here we go. Thank you, Alphonse, for giving me an extra hour. And I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed this. I'm going to put this up wherever I can after it renders. I'll probably keep it right here on Uncle Vigilante and then add it as well to other channels, facotube.com being one that if you don't subscribe to that, you should, because that's where all the banned videos go. That is the graveyard of everything that Uncle Odd has done that has been and bade. So, Alphonse, let everyone know again how to find you, your website. Yeah, real simple. It's iamhassentmetoyou.com. And there's a forum up there to interact with people, and there's a ton of documents up there, and I'll be putting more documents up there. But download them and edit them to your heart's content, and please share your successes. I have had people. I was watching Jaren's show one night. Jaren, you had on? Yeah. I'm watching the show, and Jason from the Crow Show is a co-host, and this guy calls up and he said, "Ooh, you just froze." Oh, you just froze. Well, if I'm still going, everyone, we're going to have to get that punchline next time. What a shame. Oh, man. Oh, well, look, we're going to love you and leave you. Everyone, good night.